What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Faction After Hours podcast. On today's episode, we have Andy from Andy's Mobile Dynos, and you guys have also possibly seen him at Freedom Motorsports because he's been tuning there for, I don't really know how long, but I'd say at least 5 years. So he's been tuning a lot of cars at Freedom Motorsports, and now Andy is doing his own mobile dyno service. So basically what that means is he can travel to you and perform your dyno tune wherever you are. For example, he did a bunch of tunes for us down at Englishtown, basically right at the track. So trackside tuning. And he wants to come over here and do tuning at our shop, but I said we'll probably get evicted, so he can't really do that here. It's definitely very loud, but it's awesome that he's able to do this now and travel. So I'm sure he would be willing to travel out of state as well. Just contact him on Instagram, and maybe you can set something up with him. We had a great conversation, and I hope you guys enjoy. There's a lot of information in this one, so get your notepad out, get ready to take some notes. We learned a lot of stuff, and Carl finally figured out how turbo sizes work, so that was pretty funny. Enjoy. This podcast is sponsored by East Coast Drift School. East Coast Drift School is a driving school focused on learning the art of drifting. Conveniently located at the greatest drifting facility in the United States, Raceway Park in Englishtown, New Jersey. Raceway Park currently has 3 tracks, so you will have a few options to choose from when setting up your lessons. Chris Knapp, who is part of the Raceway Park family, will be your teacher as he guides you through car setup and technique. If you are more of a seasoned driver, East Coast Drift School is also the place where you can get some extra seat time. Chris allows private track time with no instructing as well, so that you can get some test and tune runs in before that big event or competition you have coming up. Instead of spending the night dodging the police with your boys, consider signing up with East Coast Drift School the next time they release their schedule. Chris releases the schedule on the 16th of every month through Instagram. Make sure to check them out, give them a follow, and shoot over a direct message when you are ready to set up a date. You can find them on Instagram at East Coast Drift School. This podcast is also sponsored by Automotive Specialty Wraps. Looking to have your car ceramic coated or wrapped? Look no further than Automotive Specialty Wraps. ASW is a company specializing in paint protection film, vehicle wraps, ceramic coatings, and window tinting. Owned and operated by car enthusiasts and drifters, their technicians have over 10 years of experience in the industry. They are located right off of Route 208 in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Other than window tinting, which is something we all need at some point, it was the ceramic coating that really caught my attention back when they reached out to us. This coating basically gives your car's paint extra UV protection while also making it shine. Wax only lasts a couple of weeks at most, but ceramic coating lasts for a year or even longer. Honestly, this stuff is like witchcraft to me. Julian came down here one day to explain how it works and how it compares to wax, and I was pretty stunned. They perform a full 2-stage polish to the car beforehand just to make sure it's in perfect condition before applying the coating. As mentioned, they also offer window tinting and paint protection film installations. Now, everyone knows what window tinting is, but these guys offer carbon or ceramic window tinting depending on your goals with the vehicle. Paint protection film, or PPF, is a great idea for those new vehicle owners that don't want to watch their investment get littered with rock chips. Also keep in mind they are capable of getting liveries designed and installed as well as full vehicle wraps. From protecting your tow rig's exterior to full livery installations on your drift car, they have you covered. They also recently added mobile washes. So the way they're doing this is they will post a story. There'll be a link in the story on their Instagram, and you can click it where you will be able to enter your full address, and it literally tells you the services they offer right there. It's pretty awesome. The options are just inside the car, just outside the car, inside and out, and then a full detail inside and out. So you click one of those, and then it'll also give you some extras you can choose. If you got, crazy amount of pet hair in the car, if you want ceramic sealant, child seat cleaning, engine bay detail option. Wow. Yeah, there's a bunch of options on here. It's actually really awesome. They just called and told us about this, so I wanted to add this to the podcast because this is like something I didn't know that detail places did, but now that I see this, we're probably going to use them ourselves. So yeah, check this out. If you can't get to a car wash, or if you're at work or something, I'm sure they'll be able to come by and help you out. You can contact them over at automotivespecialtywraps.com and make sure to give them a follow on Instagram at automotivespecialtywraps. This podcast is brought to you by FactionMotorsports. We are an automotive performance shop located in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Our shop is easy to get to from Route 17, 3, and 21. We are also only 15 minutes away from New York City. Faction Motorsports provides services that include, but are not limited to, performance part installations, suspension overhauls, general maintenance, engine installations, tire mounting and balancing, and custom four-wheel alignments with our in-house Hunter alignment machine. We also stock a range of performance products in-house. From AN fittings and gaskets to complete body kits, we try to stock as many parts as we can to provide quick shipping times for our website customers and same-day pickup for locals. Make sure to shoot us an email if you are looking to set up an appointment or if you are looking for a part that is not up on our website. Our email is sales@factionmotorsports.com. We are also on Instagram at FactionMotorsports.
It almost feels like it's not. We usually have this intro.
All right, here it is.
Here it is. Here it is.
There you go.
There it is. And then that's when I'm like, all right, Malcolm, are we hot now? Like, it's like routine. Like I have to. That has to happen.
Malcolm tried to just start that podcast with no intro.
With no intro, because this one is a pre-recorded episode.
Yes.
I know a lot of people think that it's live sometimes when it's not. But welcome everybody to the Faction After Hours podcast. Tonight, we're here to bring you another guest. We have Andy from Andy's Mobile Dyno. That's your commercial right there, dude.
Yeah.
But actually, Andy is the tuner that I feel like you and Frankie have a long relationship. Is this true?
I don't know if it's long, but we have a
couple years.
Yeah, a few years.
You're a
tuning.
tuner.
Yeah. He's the one that does all the tuning for pretty much any car. If we're involved with a car that needs to be tuned, it's probably going to Andy because, I don't have anyone else that we bring the cars to, really. Now that I'm thinking about it. Unless it's a Subaru, then it might go to Prime Motoring. That's like down the street.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Because down the
a lot of Subarus.
Yeah, down the street's a lot easier than 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
Which is where you're from.
And my setup's not all-wheel drive, and
Yeah.
I don't tune a lot of Subarus.
Yeah, true.
Kind of
Oh,
dodge
yeah.
those.
I forgot. It's not even all-wheel drive.
No, that there's a shop in Westchester that's just a few minutes down the road. I'll rent from them if I need it, but
Yeah. Okay. So you've done Subaru stuff before, but...
yeah, that's more or less where I started out.
Oh, really?
Probably more so, at least with the laptop stuff, like really getting into flashing ECUs, Evos and Subarus were the start of that.
Oh, yeah. The mic closer.
I was
Yeah.
just about to ask, well, like jokingly off camera, I said, I'm going to ask, what's the first thing you ever tuned? But I guess you answered that yourself just now.
Yeah, more or less. So I got an Evo 8 in 2006 when I was in college. And honestly, growing up, I didn't have a computer at home or anything. I didn't know anything about computers. Decided to get into an engineering degree that was very much computer based.
Yeah. It's like I'm like trying to piece together here because I'm like, is this guy not use computers to tune today? Like,
No.
what is he about to tell me?
In high school, I was pretty set on being a mechanic. Just kind of like cars. Just gonna go with that. But then, yeah, through college, doing more with electronics, microprocessors, and all that. Had a laptop to do all of my schooling and whatnot. And my roommate had an 03 Bug-Eye WRX, STI turbo and injectors. And I had a 03 Evo 8. And a lot of open source ECU stuff's available for those. Evo Flash, Evo Scan, or ECU Flash, and ROM Raider for the Subaru stuff. So we got into flashing and tuning the stock ECUs in those. So that's really how I got much more into doing the laptop stuff. Before that, like my first car when I was 16 was a 90 Eagle Talon TSI. Loved the WRC, watching rally racing all the time. Had to have an all-wheel drive turbo 4.
We just talked about DSM stuff.
Yeah,
was it
DSM
the last
shit
pod?
is a common conversation in this.
Okay, so when you're dabbling in this stuff, how old are you roughly at this time? You said college, so
yeah, that was 20.
20. Okay. How are you not afraid to just? Because I'm like, okay, if I fuck around with some stuff, I'm breaking it. I'm just like, how are you? How'd you get over that? Like, what?
Not to mention these are brand new cars. An
Yeah.
03
Yeah, and
Evo
I couldn't afford that. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a really good deal. I got it cheap because it needed a clutch, possibly other stuff. So
Yeah.
I couldn't pass it up. Got a loan on it, repaired it.
Yeah, they're probably, what, 5 years old at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
You
4 or
said it
5
was
years old.
06? Not to age you or anything. I don't know if you
Oh,
want.
yeah, that was
How old are you?
06, 36,
Okay.
37
Oh, so they're
soon,
like
real
3
soon.
Yeah, those are like brand new cars.
Yeah, so 05 was the year I graduated high school. So.
No, because I want to give the listeners are, dude. I just found this out, but our listeners age from fucking as young as I don't even know how young these kids are,
Yeah.
and then to like older people who listen to this. So I want to
Yeah.
give them a gauge that Andy can't just fucking go to YouTube and type in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and it was way different back then too. It was a lot harder to get into figuring anything out because it wasn't like, you know, they have these nice tools like the Tuning School, Horsepower Academy. You just go online, watch all these videos that explain different types of ECUs, different strategies for boost control, nitrous control, you name it. Anything you want to find out, even specific to the exact platform you're working on, a video's out there.
What?
But
How
back
did you
then,
learn?
trial and error, figure it out. Try not to blow the car
That's
up.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Impossible. How are you dodging that? You had to have some sort of pictures or like words.
There's definitely like, there's
Scribes?
books that have been out there for a long time.
Okay,
But
yeah.
most of it, you know, I started out even before cars, was into power sports, dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, whatever. Same deal with those. Get one that's blown up for cheap, figure out how to put it back together.
Yeah. And forums.
You know, and that was just especially with the Evo stuff and the Subaru stuff like Naziok, Evo M. There's all the information, just a wealth of knowledge on there for tuning an Evo back in 06. There was write-ups, you know, DIY instructions. You could follow those and pretty much
you brought up
get it right from there.
You brought up Horsepower Academy.
Horsepower.
HPA.
Bro, such a good source of information, but I can't stand his accent, man.
Are you
The
kidding
New
me?
Zealand
Oh
accent.
my god.
You're
dude.
so fucking me, dude. He sounds so cool. Fuck you.
He's so like proper, but I think it's making that annoying. Like I'm like, oh my god,
Gotta be.
stop.
You gotta think though. Such a cool concept.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I paid for something on that thing before.
I've never. I can't even say I have.
I definitely have. It was something.
Maybe I should.
Probably the engine assembly one or whatever. I was like, this guy is a fucking genius. I'm gonna
And kind of ironically, before HPA, they had a shop, Street Tune, so I think STM, New Zealand,
STM. Oh,
which is,
okay.
you know, you've probably heard of STM New York. They did a lot of Evos too. But,
yeah, it sounds familiar.
But they had the fastest CT9A, which is Evo 7 through 9 chassis for a while.
Okay.
When that was big, like AMS had one of the fastest ones, and Busher
Yeah.
Racing, and, you know,
Busher
DSMs
Racing, I remember
Evos
that
were real
shit.
big, and, you know,
Do you remember that fucking guy? The fucking fat white dude from like Connecticut or something that would tune, and he had so many videos on YouTube, and it was like Busher Power.
Oh, no, you're not talking about Big Al, are you?
What's
yeah,
that?
definitely,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
Busher Power? What the hell is a Busher
Bro,
Power?
I don't know much about that guy, but his videos are fucking funny. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I think
Is he alive?
I don't know.
Bro, I don't know,
That's
dude.
te-
I don't know.
Isn't that a crazy question to ask?
I guess, but
I
like he
ge-
was older.
Yeah, he came and went fast. Like,
Yeah.
he was
Are we talking about like his lifespan?
Well, his
it
videos.
was just the,
and
you know,
shit.
his
Oh, okay.
activity in motorsports and stuff. There wasn't a lot of good stuff about him on Evo M. Like,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
first, he was just
blowing
came
shit
in real fast and was a, you know, really popular source for people in the Northeast. And then, you know, there was jokes that started floating around, like the Sea of Eights. They're talking about the timing tables that people would find in their ECUs that he would do, just like 8 degrees of timing from this load up every RPM. Just like he was just throwing shit out there.
I don't know what
I
the
know.
fuck you
That's why
just said.
I told Carl.
Me and Frankie just looked at each other with the same look of,
I told
what
Carl
the
before
fuck did Andy
before you
just say
came.
to
I was
us?
like, he's gonna be talking about a lot of shit we're not gonna understand. I
He
hope you're
said
ready for
timing
this.
tables. I'm like,
Because me and Andy will have conversations at the track. I'll be like talking about some problem, and then he'll just start going off, and I'm like, oh my! I'm like the meme with all the numbers in it, and I'm like trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's too smart for me. But
I always might be off tangent. No, it's about tuning. What am I talking about? There's this scene in Tokyo Drift. When was the last time you watched Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift?
Oh, probably not that long ago.
Last
Pretty recent.
It was on Netflix. Do you have Netflix? You've got to have
Yeah,
watched
it was.
Oh, it's on
All
Netflix.
right, there's this scene in there where they're tuning the RX-8, tuning it, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
like
Oh, he wants to know
like
this so bad.
there's a hole in your fuel map or some shit like that. Does that hold any type of water at all?
Basically, what does that mean? And can you explain it? To
Yeah,
him
like
if it
what are
makes
they
any
talking
sense?
about? Is that even remotely?
I mean, kind of, I guess, if you just like didn't.
Does that shit make you
build
chuckle?
a
Like
map
what
that
are you
actually-
talking about?
Because some stuff like there's only so many conditions you're gonna actually like reach in the table, like load an RPM. You're not gonna hit a turbo car. You're not gonna hit 1 bar of boost at 1,000 RPM, most likely.
Yeah,
you
hopefully
know.
not.
But you would still extrapolate, roughly where you do hit that load. It's going to be something in this ballpark. It's probably never going to be reached, but you see that a lot with, if I'm looking at other tunes or different cars, you never know what might be in an ECU somewhere who's been messing around with it. And like I imagine when they say like a hole in the fuel table, there's just like a part of the fuel table that's just not really
Filled in.
or populated with
What happens
sensible
then?
numbers.
Yeah, what
It'd just
would
be mega lean or rich or something. And it would
Isn't that
just-
bad? Isn't that what we're trying to avoid?
Yeah, generally, yeah. You don't want to leave any spots that are going to be so far out of whack that it's just going to sputter and cough and die out.
That would freak me out.
But you see that a lot. Like, say it's someone that's just been taking their car to the drag strip, and they'll have like an area of the map that's kind of, it's like the main timing map, but there's just like a hole in it that's just for where they stage on, if they foot brake it, where their converter stall is. Like, that's just pull a bunch of timing out to get the boost to build up, get into a higher part of the table where it's just like normal numbers again, but it's not really the right way to do it. If you're street driving it and you pass through that part of the table, it would feel like
shit.
crap. Yeah, you would
So-
lose you lose a ton of power and
That definitely would cause Neela to drift bad.
That's
yeah,
her
it
name,
wouldn't
Neela?
feel great.
Yeah. What?
I
You don't know
remember.
the main girl character
She
from
was
Tokyo?
hot though. She was hot.
Had my heart. Don't you disrespect her. Just call her hot.
She
like
was pretty hot.
that.
What?
She was gorgeous.
Malcolm, can you confirm or deny?
Malcolm Cam. He's here.
Tokyo Drift?
7 out of 10.
Wow.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to please Malcolm though,
Do most?
because Princess is just so amazing.
Yeah, just
You know.
she's probably in here somewhere. She's creeping.
Moving forward.
Can you make sure to let her listen to that part? I love Princess.
She's probably in here.
It's not recorded.
Oh fuck, we're not live. She'll hear it either way.
Made us just look so bad just now.
It's just me. Don't worry. It's not you.
I know. Anyway,
well, I want to know: do most ECUs like populate the map themselves, or you have to go in there and like? Oh my god.
Yeah, you can start with a base file, and a lot of stuff like say someone has whatever ECU, they put a Haltech in their car, and it's not something they have a base map for. You get any software, you can download AEM Infinity Tuner, Haltech, ESP, NSP, whatever, ECU Master. They all have their own library of base files, and if you're talking about like most ECUs are going to run like speed density, they're going to have a VE table. You can just go find a source generally for a starting point. But if it's speed density, you can more or less fill it out with close guesses, and it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be like 50 or 60% at idle. You're going to be like 100% at peak torque. You just kind of smooth everything out between there, and then when it actually gets time to tune it, set it up properly. But
So there is one company you didn't name in there.
why?
Power FC,
Power FC.
those come pre-populated.
They
yeah.
come with pre-populated, but they don't come with like different maps or
So it's a
anything.
nice concept, though, that I was thinking would be a good service to add, kind of a missing service in the industry right now. You get a standalone ECU, and you're expected to just read through the 40-page instruction and go to the website, load the correct file, yada, yada. But it's really nice when you get something like a Power FC, plug it in, turn it on, and it'll start.
Yeah.
Will it? I don't know
In
any
most cases, yeah. And even if you have larger injectors, you just go to the injector section. It just has a general scaling. You just add or reduce until you're
Oh,
close.
I can do that.
And he just complimented Apexi right
I
there.
think I could do
I
that.
think that's what draws people to them. You just plug
Yeah,
it
it's
in,
usually
and
pretty
it's
plug and
usually
play.
just gonna run.
I'll tell you what draws.
Somewhat.
Now, what
the
about
the
Mega
Game
Squirt?
Boy.
What is a buddy of mine runs Mega Squirt, and he's like, "Yeah, I just went in there. I just fucking typed whatever the fuck in. It seems to work pretty good. I'm like, are you serious?
Like,
And I believe him.
like he found a map, I guess, or something.
No, he just probably was working on it on himself. I don't know.
Oh,
what
so
the
he
hell
probably
does.
just plugged it in.
Yeah, there's nothing. So they sell plug and play ECUs as well. I mean, you have to go load the base file, but if you get one for a Fox Body Mustang, you load their base tune for it. It will probably be pretty close. But you can do the same thing with the Haltech plug-in or any of the kits with patch harnesses. Plug them in, put the base file in. It's probably gonna be close.
No,
I'm still thinking about Big Al right now.
I'm just. Who is this person to you?
Pusher Power. I'm gonna send you the videos later.
You're gonna have to because
I forgot what his name was till right now. So
I've messed a buddy of mine had an Evo. I think I've mentioned him on the podcast before. Hopefully he does fucking find the shit. But he had an Evo. It was probably the first fast car I've ever felt where I was genuinely afraid. But it was tuned by somebody. I don't know where in New York it was.
It's Big Al.
No, it was his name was like Urkel or something like
Urkel?
E-Spec
Oh, yeah.
or something
Yep,
like that.
that's another-
And
That's
we
who
would.
that is. Yep.
That is.
Yep. I think he's in Florida now or something. But yeah, Urkel. Yeah.
That was him.
That's
huh?
a guy that tuned a bunch of Evos.
E-Spec sounds
I had
familiar.
a feeling that was it because a friend of mine had gotten their stuff tuned at that shop and like it came back and there was a lot of like weird things about it, but.
Everyone always blames the tuner too. So.
No.
It's always
It was
the tune's
the
fault.
car
Yeah.
was built there.
And no matter how close it is to running or not, it just needs a tune.
Yeah, it just needs a tune.
it could be like
It's fine.
multiple cracks in the intake manifold. Nah, the tune's off.
We've called
Tune's
Andy
off.
so many times. We're like, yeah, we think it's just a tune. Yeah, and then he'll be like, he'll go in and he'll like remote in and like try to look for something. He's like, I don't really see anything on here.
How
I'm like,
annoying is that got to be? Like
It's
you
gotta be
know
real
the
annoying.
answer most of the time. Would that be correct in saying that?
Well, it depends. Like, if it's something with a sensor or anything that I can see on my end. If we're talking like trying to remote diag, I can tell or I can get an idea of what might be wrong. But sometimes it's frustrating because I'm like, I know if I was there, I would look for this or that. But there's varying levels of difficulty with doing the remote stuff, and I remote tune a little bit, but you just never know what you're gonna get.
That
from
sounds
it.
like a pain in the ass. I'm sorry, but is it a pain in the ass? Imagine
It varies so much. It really is down to who's on the other side. Like I had a customer that was I think he was somewhere in Michigan, and Power FC S chassis.
yeah,
And I said
Michigan.
I wasn't
Who
gonna
is it?
remote tune.
I would have said no right off the bat.
Who
yeah.
the fuck is it? Who are you?
It's like I don't know
Dude,
about
Michigan.
remote tuning a Power FC because I have to get them to wire the wideband in to their data log it so I can actually see that much data. But he did that. I sent him like a brief instruction, and he a couple hours later sent me back a log. He's like, "Did I do this right?" I'm like, that actually looks correct. So I figured, all right, well, at least get a base tune going. And from start to finish, it was less than an hour, and his tune worked.
I've done a lot.
That was easy.
I've done that with my car before. I sent Dave from Toge Factory tune my car in like 2014 because I actually had it. Funny enough, I had it done at Freedom, but it wasn't you. It was someone else, and I must have got it back. And I was like, I must have thought there was some weird problem with like probably some dumb shit, probably like idle or like street driving shit. And then he's like, I don't even know how this conversation got started or what, but all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'll do it. I send him the map. I do like what do you call it?
Street
Put a
hits.
log on the
A
street.
lot, data log on my Power FC, and I was like, damn, this is sick. So I had to get like the data logic and all that bullshit. So that's why I have it. And then,
Do I need that?
dude, he did 2 runs, and I drove the car like that for fucking 5 years, same tune. I was like, this shit runs pretty good. And then the piston melted, but I think that was my fault.
6 years though.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was cool. It's cool that we could do this like remote shit.
I think I'm thinking about it too much because I'm over here. I'm like,
Well,
I put one of these numbers in wrong. Let's say, not that
probably
I'm going to
not.
do that. Not that I'm going to do that. I'm going to fully entrust everything into Andy now.
Yeah.
Because now I'm hearing this. I'm like, I'm too stupid. I think to try this on my own. There's some things that like you just don't.
You could probably learn how to do it. Like when I.
Yeah, but why wouldn't I just? I'd want it to be.
Yeah, you're not
tuned
going to do it yourself.
well.
Yeah.
So I would go to somebody like Andy.
But you could learn to know what you're looking at when you have the computer plugged in and everything, which I feel like is pretty.
Would you
Yeah, that
suggest?
helps a
Is it a
lot.
learnable or not learnable? Is that even a fucking word? Do you think people are able to teach themselves that still today? like how to tune on the street, even with like the newer, or would you say it's easier now with the newer ECUs?
It's a lot easier. They're so much better collecting data and making it viewable. And I mean, when you go back to like chip tuning stock Nissan ECUs,
Like
it's a lot of just rummaging around in the dark, like, or like I'm probably here on this table. I don't know, and you know,
Wait, what do you mean? Like you don't even know?
you ballpark know.
What the?
Depending on if you're logging and you have all of the tools.
Yeah.
Sometimes this stuff wasn't available, years and years ago. So like sometimes it just be.
So
this seems like the right thing to do, and
This shit's hauling ass at this
trial and
setting.
error. Yeah.
So when they say like ROM tuning and shit, like you're talking about Evos and STIs, is that
Yeah.
like completely different than Nissan?
So, yeah, a little bit.
Because you need like a
Your-
chip or something for a Nissan.
Yes,
right?
like a lot of OBD2 stuff, especially Subarus, Evos, BMWs, OBD2 BMWs. You can flash the EEPROM through the OBD2 port. So
Okay.
when you're talking about chip tuning, those older ECUs, let's just say, for example, like an RB20 is an easy one.
Yeah.
They just have a single like DIP24 EEPROM chip. You desolder it, put a socket in so you make it removable, and you actually just
So you pretty
modify
much-
the chip.
Yeah. So you got to
modify the
basically
file on the chip.
convert it so that you can mess with it.
Yeah, you put a rewritable
Yeah.
memory chip in there, and
Okay.
and then somebody, yourself or somebody else out there in the world of the internet, has to take the actual binary file dumped off of that EEPROM and go through it and find the tables, make a definition like an XML file or an
Shit
XDF
seems way
that
harder.
addresses all of it so that you can open it up in a hex editor and view the tables correctly. And even then, sometimes like data is not always in the same spot from ECU ID to another ECU ID from year to year. Some things change.
Yeah.
You have to modify it and make sure you're editing the right thing, because sometimes you might just, it looks correct in the table, you enter something in and it just gorks the whole file.
I was gonna say, and
the
then
car won't
after-
even run on it. You key on no fuel pump prime. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that wasn't the right thing to change.
Dude,
And then
this
like
all
you
sounds
probably
nerve-wracking.
mailed it out and then you got it back and then because that's what they used to do too.
Yeah, they would do
Mailing
mailing
to-
chips back and forth.
Dude, that shit's crazy.
I don't. Yeah, some people still ask for that. I'm like,
I know
no, I
people
will not.
veer away now from like stuff like that. Like, remember RS Enthalpy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he still does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
know.
you just send
only-
him your mods and then you send it out and
Yeah,
then he
he'll send you
literally
a chip.
he's literally just basically doing what you just said. Just
but he's
kinda-
doing the all-in-one. Like, he just sends it back. It's ready to go. I think. Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of them will be like, this is with a Z32 MAF, Nismo 555 injectors or whatever, and it's just like he's done enough of them where he's got a catalog.
Yeah,
of,
he's like, yeah, this
So
one's
he's probably tuned a bunch of those in person. He knows it works.
Dude,
no matter
a
how
bud-
many
that's
times I hear about that
different
shit like
thing.
working and stuff, I always think to myself,
the horror stories.
but isn't every car's still a little different? Some are making different
little.
compressions. Some what if you have I mean, God forbid you have cams in there, you don't even know you have them. I mean, that could be another problem too.
Dude, I don't know,
Especially
man.
Stuff like that changes the actual VE of the engine, that is going to have more of an effect.
Yeah.
But,
The health
one
of the engine doesn't really
GT28
matter.
versus another, like a 2860 RS versus like a 2871. Probably, it was the same turbine, probably like the same turbine housing. You're not messing with the back pressure the engine sees that much. It's not going to be vastly different.
It's so weird.
Like,
But then
And
of
look-
course you get a car on a dyno and you start running it and you're making adjustments like
that's the other
crazy.
thing. So there's always, you could tinker forever.
Yeah.
There's always little bits of stuff you can clean up. And that's something you just get used to over time. You just know where, like, that's enough. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine enough.
So
you
no
know?
matter what, like if you got a mail-in tune, it's not going
It's
to be.
never going to be
Yeah.
100% OEM. But
Yeah.
I feel like you just want it to run good enough for you to drift as long as you can.
Yeah, but you want it to be safe too.
Well, yeah, that goes with what I just said. Like, you can't be on something dangerous forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really the trade-off too. Is like the harder you lean into it, you're always trading off longevity for reliability. You know, if you take an engine and add 50% horsepower, I mean, the OEM designed it to make it, through the warranty period, as reliably as possible without too much, over engineering and cost. But that same token, like every stock ECU has the same file on it. They're not custom tuned or unique from one another. So, it's all about how far you trend away from that.
Huh.
Yeah.
That was a kind of cool point. Yeah, literally. It's not like the stock ECU is different for each fucking car.
Yeah.
Newer ECUs are really good at they just figure everything out real time anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was
Newer
thinking.
OEs.
But older ones,
they were just like that chip that we were just talking about taking out of an old Nissan ECU. They're all basically the same tables, same numbers are in those.
I will say though, I've ridden in a car with an RS enthalpy where it works good as hell. D-Walking 240SX, the blue one, Nick.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing hauls ass. There's a video of me geeking in that, and it's like the old setup that I said to him. I was like, this setup is like that setup that everybody says, stay away from this.
Why? What? Just because the
it's old. Everything. It's like a disco potato looking turbo, and like the I seen the ECU. I'm like, is this on like that old type of thing? And like this power steering stuff is all like.
So it probably makes like what, 300 horsepower?
It's
or
fast as shit. Could be 1 million in there, I think.
Yeah.
What's up, Nick? I hope you hear this.
But I guess that's the other. You brought up a point there. The stuff's getting a lot older. Like, there's one thing to chip tune these cars. To me, they don't seem like they're that much older than they are.
Yeah.
It's like, but 20 years ago, that might have been a good option. But now, that's old hardware.
I don't know how
harnesses are worn out.
Yeah.
Those are components in that ECU are probably not working the way they're supposed to be.
What if it's just broken in just the right amount? You know what I mean? Like where something is just letting something else go by and it's making it 1,000% better.
I never really thought about the ECUs being worn, but
yeah, I mean, there's components. Everything has a life cycle.
yeah,
it has even like relays. They'll have a switch limit, like 1 million or something, really high value.
Yeah,
but you can reach it. And like,
damn.
Sometimes you just have to replace old hardware.
What do you think is gonna happen with like? I don't know, like because in the future, it's scary shit. Like, do you think tuning is gonna be a way of? Do you think eventually ECUs are just gonna fucking figure this shit out on its own?
They kind of do already. But he's saying if you put like performance modifications.
I'm saying like somebody gets they make something newer than a Link or newer than a standalone.
But you're saying like if I buy a car and I have a standalone on it or something, and then I put like a bigger turbo on it, the ECU will just figure it out.
Know what to do.
Yeah, I guess that is a valid question. If that's
Yeah,
possible.
Absolutely, I think so. Like,
yeah,
not to
newer
run you out of the
ECUs
or anything.
No, that'd be great. That'd be awesome if it just works that well.
And he goes on a vacation for like. Do you have like? Are you guys busy as hell? Like how often?
He's got a full-time job too, right?
Yeah, the tuning's a part-time thing for me.
Yeah,
I just do that on weekends.
I wanted to ask you what you do full-time.
Work for a company that we do automated industrial equipment. So
Okay,
basically just automated forklifts, no drivers.
that's some fucking.
And we're over here talking about automated tuning.
That's some Terminator shit.
Synchronicity.
I'm a little scared of automated machines.
It's been around for a long time, so
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
And it just
Skynet
does
didn't
one
happen
thing,
yet.
it's people. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
there's like a real big AI element right now.
But maybe they will. That's what they'll use
For the tuning.
for taking over the world.
Oh.
well, there's
yeah.
actually Dodge ECUs have a neural network. They're I mean, you could say they're AI.
Dodge.
What was that?
ECUs?
Wait,
Yeah.
do you have any more information on this?
Yeah, like it's back to the thing. What if you throw a turbo on it? HP Tuners has a nice neural network training tool, and you can go in and adjust how the neural network works and train it for conditions that you're expecting, and it will pre-train the AI.
When you're
the
saying neural network, you're talking about the
That's what I
brain.
mean. Yeah, that's
Like-
what artificial neural network. That's AI. I mean,
You're so freaking smart.
That's why that's why he doesn't do tuning
them
full-time.
automatic robot stuff. And then Andy's like, yeah.
So you said Dodge does that?
that's the that's the strategy they have.
I
They
feel like those
also-
Hellcats should probably not have that kind of technology.
I fucking love that shit, man.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But it's
That-
all a matter of like, there's a preset number of conditions it's going to look at or scenarios, and it's trained to do a certain thing
Yeah.
when a certain combination of events happen. And it's not a really like advanced AI or anything
Yeah.
like crazy like
Yeah,
that.
now
It's
that I
just-
think
that's
about
what they
it,
say, and then-
somebody's gonna be listening to this, and they're gonna probably be like, "They've been doing this for years, you fucking idiot!" And I'm gonna,
They
what the
all
hell do
have,
I
yeah.
know? Like, what the?
Yeah, I mean,
even like Ford kind of real time, Nissan, the new ECUs, they kind of real time figure out the amount of ignition advance they should have.
I saw a comment the other day where, because they were arguing that clip of us talking about Power FCs with PJ.
yeah, I didn't even know about that.
There was
till
an
the other day.
argument. Somebody's comment. I wish I remembered the name, but it said, "Stop making 1998 engine run like 2023 engine," or something like that. And that shit
No,
stuck with me.
it was really good, whatever it was.
That shit stuck with me because if it ran, if let's say that 1J, I'm going to use the 1J as an example. It's my favorite thing. But let's say a 1J ran amazing in 1999 on the Power FC. What is preventing it from running just as well now?
To me,
on the Power FC?
to me, the only thing people argue about, Andy could chime in, but the only thing people really argue about is the fail safes. I feel like that is the most important thing about modern ECUs compared to like a Power FC.
That's definitely a huge factor. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
can compensate for a number of. You can add sensors and strategies that compensate for more conditions than the Power FC ever knows about, and
Yeah.
you can add different protection measures, engine protection that intervenes when any number of different things are out of spec or.
This is how
out of
I
line.
this is how I compare it when people have this argument with me. I'm like, all right, so me with a Power FC in my car is like a 1941 like Mustang fighter pilot versus like versus a million gauges on the fucking thing, and I gotta make sure they're all working versus like, a new F-16. That's not even new. What's an F-22 Raptor?
You
I don't
just
know,
want
whatever those
to.
are.
You just want to be so
and
edgy,
it's just a
so
computer,
bad.
and they're just like everything's fine.
Well, I have an opinion on
I don't
that
need
too.
to. I don't need to know anything.
I don't think gauges. No one looks at gauges. You don't need. Gauges.
While
I
you're
look
drifting,
at
no one
gauges
needs
when
gauges.
shit is already too late. It's like I
Exactly.
guess it's fucked.
I don't know, man.
That's all the gauge is ever gonna do for you. You're gonna like, oh, something broke. Oh, it was that.
I don't know, man. I look at my gauges.
It's already.
I
it's already
do.
dead.
I look at gauges.
I look at them right before I'm about to go into turn one, and then right after the last turn.
dude.
Yeah, right.
I look at the gauges. If I had a gauge, I don't remember the last time I did, but when I'm about to get sent off, like I look at it once, and then maybe if
Yep, we're
something
good.
goes wrong, like I feel like I'll like go,
Yeah, yeah,
look over like that. But
That's good. That's
maybe
enough.
that's it.
That's all you need.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like I didn't need it.
I
I'm
mean,
used to doing that.
yeah. I mean,
Can you? This is maybe off topic now, but to both of you, can you guys ride in a car without looking at a single piece of information aside from the speed?
you mean like get in the car,
Like
start
look
it, and
at,
never look?
never look down.
No,
Like
but
on track or
No,
like
no,
in
no.
my
Just
car?
in general. Just in general.
Say in my Z, like
Like going on the
I'll
street, going to
look
the
at
store.
I'll look at the temp gauge on grid. It doesn't really matter where it's at. I'll be like, okay, it's too hot. Gonna drive it again. And what I really look for is the steam to come out of the.
Yeah,
like,
you're
oh,
looking for visible failure.
blew the pressure cap. It's-
Crap.
okay, now it's. Hot
But I
enough.
mean like your everyday driving, because I've noticed this. I you ever get in a car with somebody who knows
I was
nothing
gonna
about
say
cars?
it's probably a car person thing.
I know nothing about cars at all. Sorry, Chris is hitting something outside. I think he's beating up Jesus.
Yeah.
No, Jesus is not here. Jesus is
He's just
out.
out sick today. We got his replacement, Lewis. Lewis is gonna start.
Look at them. They're all working so
Oh my
hard
God,
out
Eddie's
there.
filming them too. Look at that shit.
Oh my God, they're working.
They're working on Chris's engine.
Holy
Yeah.
crap. God bless. What the hell were we
Well,
talking about?
I definitely check gauges in my truck.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
but
yeah.
everyday
oil
people,
pressure. It's not overheating. Cool.
they don't know what these gauges do.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
And the newer cars that come out have less and less gauges. They're just
No,
like,
but there's
don't worry about
there's a
that.
bunch in there. You just gotta like click through,
Yeah,
and there's
you
like
gotta go look.
information on everything.
The
I
worst
mean,
was
dummy
when-
gauges, but
I remember my mom. This is like 7 years ago. My mom got a Subaru Impreza. I was like, oh, it's a new one. It must be pretty nice. I was like, where's the water temp gauge? They just got rid of it.
it's a light. It just says blue.
Yeah,
Red.
blue when it's cold, and
then it goes
nothing
away.
when it's. I was like, dude.
A lot of cars don't have dipsticks. You don't measure.
Yeah.
That
no
one.
mechanical means of measuring the oil. It just
That
has
that one
a
weirds
light will
me
come
out.
on if it's too low.
It's because
Yeah.
they don't want you to know.
When it's too
They
late.
just want it to blow up and you
No,
bring it in
just-
for warranty.
Nah.
Take it to the dealer.
Yeah.
Get your maintenance.
Yeah.
My roommate Tyler has. You've seen Tyler's car. He has a newer. My roommate has a newer Cayman. One day, there's a crazy error message. I believe it said, coolant level low, red, big turn off or something like that.
Okay.
He also has an SW20 MR2. So he's like, coolant level.
No.
Fuck. So then he's like still calm about it. He's like, yeah, it'll get like just slightly below, gives you that message so that you could go to the dealer and fucking have them do a service on it, and then it's over.
That's what Eddie's car just did outside with the Volkswagen. His coolant level was low, and it like it's like you better fucking get the hell out of the car right now.
It's over for you.
Yeah.
You're
No,
good.
I
Kiss
love
this car goodbye.
I love gauges, man. The more gauges, the better. Like the old Japanese, like
I was just about to say,
D1 cars and
You
shit.
style guys love that stuff.
Yeah,
I was
dude, I
all
want like
gauges
40
on the
gauges.
dash.
he just wants to be edgy, bro, dude. He just wants.
I just like what I like. So.
Did you hear yourself earlier?
what?
It's like I'm 1941
That's what it is, though.
airline pilot,
That's what it is.
and
There's
then
no
everyone
computer in
else
there.
around me is like
Some nerd.
new.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's how I feel.
That's you.
There's some cool nostalgia to that, especially like analog gauges.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
feels more
like
mechanical.
this
and
fucking
more,
Gretty boost gauge right here. You know how long it took me to find this thing on Yahoo auctions?
I'll find that for you right now.
So that's
on
a-
Alibaba.
That's a Gretty gauge, but it's really a Defi. It's just a Gretty face. They did like a collaboration or something at some point. So those are all the ones I have, and this was like the last one I needed, but I finally found it.
Do you know what I liked? I do like that, but if we're going mechanical, you know, on old planes when they had the old label maker that it almost punches it and stamps it. Dyno used to make them.
Oh,
where you
feel like I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I bought one just so I
Okay.
could fucking make the little labels for
So-
like the oil pressure one is gonna say Druck.
that's some edgy shit, bro.
Come on, dude. You want to be Tom Cruise? Commit. He got that
Yeah,
shit. He's
dude,
got a label maker.
these cars-
100%.
Our cars look cooler with all those gauges, you know? No link ECUs.
I just don't.
No, they're good, though.
I don't like when they are places where they don't belong. You know what I mean?
like where?
Like, I don't know. Like, it just has to. There's a good way to make those gauges look,
Yeah.
but there's also a bad way to make those gauges look. And
You also
that-
got to make sure you can actually see them.
that's why I like those newer ones. You could have like a whatever you call that dash info
Yeah.
screen, and that is those 8 gauges in
Yeah.
one little 4x4 screen.
Dude, I feel like Power FC was ahead of its time with that, at least back
Yeah,
then.
with the Commander
Yeah.
handheld.
Back then,
Because you could see all that information. Like now, modern ECUs they do have that, but you got to pay like extra for it or something like that. But yeah,
that
I mean,
was a nice
for
feature they added. Yeah,
for something so
you can
old.
edit anything you want with that you can do. Like anything you can do with the FC Commander software or the
Yeah.
data log at FC Edit. Like
Do you
you can get to all that through the
You ever,
handheld.
you ever
Could
see
only-
people like do a whole map
Oh
on that
my
thing?
God. Yeah, I can't.
can you actually
I
though?
guess,
Because
I
now
can't
that
imagine
Andy's
someone
here,
tuned a whole tape.
They
I
have
bet you
done it,
someone's
though.
done it.
Yeah,
and
that
that
would
would be
be-
horrible.
you can though.
yeah.
Because
You
Frankie
could,
has said to
yeah.
me, "Yeah, you could build a whole tune on there."
Yeah,
But
I tell him
now
that.
that
He
you're
doesn't
here,
believe me.
can you?
if you wanted to, I guess. Yeah,
That's
you totally
fucking
could.
terrifying.
You
You
can
go into each cell and you can change the number.
Yeah, one
and
cell
then
at a time, and you can only see like the ones directly around them. So
Yeah.
you have to.
I'm just
Guess
never
what
gonna
spot
touch
you're
it.
in.
I'd
they
be
were-
so scared to touch it, and then like something will change, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what did I just do?"
I would mess with mine back then because I was like, oh, idle, like only idle problems. I would not fuck with anything like on throttle because I was like, I don't know where that's gonna be, but I would like try to mess with it a little bit and like, dude, it's just so much to learn.
What are you reading the manual?
I was on forums probably,
Oh,
yeah, and if you go on forums, you'll see the crazy motherfuckers that are like, yeah, I did my whole tune through the handheld. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
what's a logit? Data logit.
So that's like an aftermarket Australian company, I think it is, or New Zealand.
Australian or New Zealand.
Yeah.
They're all from down there somewhere.
They basically made the Apexi software, but they made their own version of it so that you can
Record it.
basically hook a laptop up and
So
edit.
do I need that?
That's what I would recommend if you were going to get software, but you don't actually need it. You just need well, actually, if you go to a tuner, he's going to have everything to plug in.
Like
So,
you, Andy, you would
yeah.
have one of those.
Yeah,
So you'll be
yeah,
fine.
the
Perfect.
cable already.
All right.
Yeah. I just had it so that because originally the one I had was like quote unquote hardwired in my car. Like I put it behind my glove box and just had a cable running out. That way I could plug in and then either data log or check something if I had to, or change some settings here and there, like the the water temp adjustment and all that shit. Like when it gets hot, that's the only fail
Yeah,
safe
the
I have.
enrichments and stuff.
Yeah. So stuff like that, but then everyone always needs it, so I gotta rip it out of my fucking car.
Do you have any like weird? What's the weirdest thing you've ever tuned? Like you're like, oh, this is kind of different. Or do you just always was it always just race cars?
Mostly race cars. I definitely like to stick to more like standalone ECUs and stay away from like,
You know, like a Honda or
newer
something?
cars.
Honda
everyone comes in and just wants you to turn off all their emissions codes, and that's getting sketchier and sketchier. And I'm like, I don't do that. No.
Yeah.
Someone comes, oh, this other shop wouldn't turn my P420 off for my
EVAT
headers that no
or
longer
whatever.
have cats, and it's like, no, you can.
Is that getting harder
that
and
out.
harder to do with the new ECUs?
It's getting restricted more.
Yeah, because I think Cobb doesn't let you do that anymore, or something like that.
No, they don't.
They kind of got sued
You have
by
to,
the
like,
EPA.
Yeah, they did. They showed up at
Yeah.
their facility, and that's why they don't sell any more catless downpipes or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because even that off-road use only doesn't really fly anymore.
It sucked for us because we had a customer come in like less than a year ago, and I was like, oh yeah, you just get the downpipe and the stage 2 tune, all this, put it on, go plug in the access port. It's like, oh, there is no stage 2. I'm like, what do you mean there's no stage 2? How are you supposed to? I got your downpipe with the cat, and they're just like, yeah, we just don't make it. So I had to get a dyno tuned.
Yeah,
I'm like, shit, that kind of sucks.
yeah, just reducing their liability.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm afraid of for the future is like that tunability, that like freedom that I guess we have.
Yeah.
The newer cars, I feel like it doesn't offer that.
Not nearly as much. And
Yeah.
It's way more complicated. Like certain newer cars, I mean, if that's got to be pretty much the only thing you spend all your time on, you'll never get good at it. It's too much to try and just. I think a lot of people think you plug in and it's the same. Oh, fuel table, ignition table, but
It's
it
not?
is not. No.
What does it look like
Especially
now? It's like
stock-
circles?
Stock ECUs.
Instead of rectangles.
Oh, just like the like you don't have those tables at all in newer. Like let's say the big three, like Stellantis, Dodge, Ford, and GM. Like,
Okay.
they don't have those tables. Like
What
have,
is it?
Like
The
a fuel
Neuro
table,
thing?
virtual tables. It'll just real time calculate what needs to happen based on the angle of the flapper and the intake manifold, or the angle of the variable cam, the load, the barrow. Like
That's
you
so
name it.
weird.
You got,
It's
20
going-
different sensors that it's picking exactly what it needs to do in that scenario.
It's going off
those
of a
conditions.
completely different set of data now.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is,
not like a 3D table. Now it's like
whoa.
10 dimensions.
See, I didn't know
It's-
that.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's
What?
just more variables to its programming, I guess.
Yeah, like even like a Coyote has like the first years of that, all the way back to like what 2012 or 13. I don't know. I don't too many of those. They have like 27 ignition tables, and they're ballparks for various different conditions, and it just kind of interpolates between them for whatever it needs.
Holy
Or like let's say
shit.
you have a 370Z out here.
Yeah.
You could open that up. Like 350s, they have a burn time. They don't even have like an ignition advance. It's not even number of degrees of ignition advance. It's just some number that quantifies to an amount of time that it takes for the gas and fuel to burn.
So how the fuck
And-
do you tune that?
You don't.
Start from a known point and you just kind of like, but a lot of things like UpRev will convert it to an actual ignition table.
Oh, okay.
Ecutech does the same type of thing, but even like a smarter ECU, like what's in the 370s, you could go in and just put the wrong numbers in that table. And if you log it and watch, the second the knock sensors pick anything up, I mean, not even second, we're talking 200 milliseconds of the log, you'll see it just go back to a different number, like a lower number that's correct. It
It's
doesn't.
like it's compensating, like thinking for itself.
Yeah, I think you could. It's probably safe to say you could go in and put a way advanced ignition table into a 370, do a run, and I don't know if you could blow it up. Like it would say, nah, that's that's not right.
Stop.
It would just pull all the timing out and
Whoa.
run what it thinks it should.
I mean, that is cool though, because it means the engines should be better
Definitely should make it more
in
reliable.
theory. Yeah.
And the same goes like if you have an excessively low timing table, it will slowly learn up. You could, in theory, flash a tune on a car that makes less power dyno back to back, lose 20 horsepower, go drive it around and beat on it for a full tank of gas or something, put it back on the dyno, it'll probably be back to where it was power-wise before.
Crazy. Wow.
I don't ever think about that kind of thing. Like the way that you just thought about that, I'm like, this might be broken. Maybe try another time. Like
you did mention that earlier too. I think about like putting the wrong number in somewhere, but
yeah,
just in general, like going kind of way back to like learning and being careful to not break anything.
Yeah,
I think starting off, I was way more gun shy and thought the smallest wrong turn and I'm gonna nuke this engine. But the reality is, engines put up with a lot. You can, I mean, it's not
Andy's
good.
Telling me. He's looking at me like, go ahead, man. No, I'm just kidding.
There's a margin of error there for sure.
God, dude, it's just
you don't want to do that to ideally the less abuse you put in on that engine setting it up, the better. You don't want to
because like
be in there blindly guessing and like you're still adding wear, but
like,
you're
I'm
not
that
gonna
kid.
tank the whole thing like one bad pull. Most likely, I mean you could, but probably not.
Maybe I'm not a kid now, but I'm that kid who's like, what's it gonna take for me to street drive this to the tune? Like, so I could just get there. You know what I mean? You know how many times? I'm sure you probably run into that a bunch of times.
Dude, you got a JZ. You probably just plug that thing in and start it. You'll be all right.
Probably.
That's how I feel with JZs lately.
They are pretty remarkable on what they'll just be fine with.
Dude, we put the JZ in Miyagi's car. We were like, all right, let's put some time ahead for all the problems we're gonna have, and we go to start it. I can't just call Andy and be like, yeah, we're gonna go to the tune, start it up, fucking runs totally fine.
On the power FC?
Yeah, immediately. I'm like, what? And then we drove it. I remember we drove it down the street, and I was like, I don't even know if we need a tune, but I guess we gotta get a tune. Like that's how we felt.
You didn't tune it at first?
No, we were just like, this car runs totally fine. But you do that with a 240 and with an SR, you'd be lucky if it idles.
What about the gauges? They were reading all the right data.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's giving me hope because I hope one day when I put that in there that same thing happens to me.
Yeah, and then you bring it to Andy and he tells you it made 300-something horsepower. And you're like, whoa.
Sick! Sick!
Like, that's
Dude,
a lot.
I was just telling him outside. I was like, I've never had anything over anything.
Neither
like,
did Miyagi.
Dude, I'm
shit was
fucking
crazy.
ready, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be at the Burger King drive-thru just fucking.
And now he does mobile tuning. So like we did
Yeah, I want to ask about that.
We tuned Wags' car at the track. And that was pretty cool.
That's
I'd like
sick.
to do more of that. Seems a lot of people come from this area, so
Yeah.
like find a more central location.
Is that
and just
still
have people
okay
there.
down there, or you think they're giving them problems with the noise?
I think it's okay. I haven't talked to Chris recently about it, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, once the weather gets better, probably E-Town will probably be the spot for tuning now.
What
That'd
did
be
you?
cool.
What? Where is that like a common thing? I've seen them at like shows where they're like, yeah, $20 a dyno run or whatever.
That is so cheap.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
But you know, just to
sort
get like the
of.
power, or like they'll like run it
you
on the
just get the
dyno.
reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did so that was the E-Town weekend was the one weekend I did of going somewhere and tuning on the road or remote or mobile, whatever. And I did one car show and I did one car meet at another local shop, just doing runs like that.
That's what so you're using it not just for tuning. You're literally using it for what I mentioned.
Yeah, I'd like to just kind of open up another revenue stream, even though like I've been pretty as busy as I can get on weekends throughout the summer tuning. But I have a friend that does a lot of road racing, and he brought up how they have the hardest time getting a dyno there because all the road racing guys, they need, all their classes are restricted by power to weight, so they need to they weigh their cars
and run them
on
the
the
dyno.
dyno to pass compliance for the race.
We should do that for the car trek. Huh?
I wish they would, honestly.
Shut
but,
the fuck up,
dude,
bro.
No
We're
one,
not doing
no
that
one
for
ever
drifting.
does that for drifting. They're like, oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, your tire size is right. It's okay. You're in the comp. It's like, what?
It's so subjective, though. You know what I mean?
But
like,
it's not. If you have a power fucking, like, oh, you cannot be over 350 horsepower. Like,
I mean, they have scales at FD. You come off
the
track, and you'll get pulled randomly.
They do
to go over the scales, but
weight and tire, right? With FD, yeah,
they check a few things,
which is
in
good.
the car to make sure like you're not cheating.
I think
any
the
of
weight to
rules.
tire ratio thing is the best, basically the best thing you can do other than the horsepower thing. I feel like that is the best way to make sure everything's fair. Because if you can't have a certain tire size, you could have a Miata, but with 1,000 horsepower, but you need to have a certain tire size because your car doesn't weigh that much.
Yeah, and if
So-
you're ever bored, check out some of the regulations on different NASA groups because there's chassis specific stuff. It gets very nitty gritty. It's all kinds of little stuff.
But then in that nitty gritty, there's like little. It's crazy what some people will come up with, like to maximize just how much you can get out of that fucking little car.
Definitely. And
Within a set of regulations.
They'll take a hit in one place because it's going to help their specific setup in another way.
Yeah.
So they'll pick and choose what kind of things they're going to take
That's
a
crazy.
weight hit for, ballast the car a little differently or add weight, and pick and choose which things that they're maybe they'll run a different type of tire like a Toyo instead of a Hoosier because they can run a little bit more horsepower, and this track is more long straights where they're going to benefit more from having the extra power than hurt from a little less grip in the turns or whatever.
Damn, I love saying "who's you." Dude, it's such a cool tire name. Like,
Yeah.
who's you?
Andy, how did you get so fucking smart? How did this happen? Like, what?
Well, I think it's just, if you spend enough time doing a certain thing, like, if we're talking in my wheelhouse, like people always say that about tuning knowledge or something. Like, well, I've just been doing it for
Yeah.
a couple decades. So
Yeah, you kind of surrounded yourself
it'd be
with it.
bad if I didn't sound like I knew what I was talking about.
That would be scary. Yeah.
Do you
I'd
drift
probably
too?
stop.
Like, are you in that space? Are you?
Yeah,
Is
so-
your space tuning, and that's what you love?
Where I work now, before I started that job, I had a few different cars. I was at the track a few times, but 2012, I stopped drifting, going to the track. Then 2020 decided I'm going to start back up again. So I got a 350Z, and it's been a lot of fun. The thing's a tank, so
Yeah.
if you need seat time, lowest dollar per lap, just get a 350Z.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I drove one like once for real around Englishtown, and I was like, this shit's fucking good to go, and it's got not much done to it.
Does like a full lap. Wasn't his car. I was there.
Yeah, it
You
was
can cut the lock stops, use put an extension on the factory handbrake,
Yeah.
maybe some Project Muse shoes for
that's what they
the
say.
e-brake shoes and
got
coilovers.
them in stock. Yeah, that's.
Plug.
Yeah. So
I got to drift one. Remember?
Oh, did you?
At Grange.
Oh yeah. That car
Mine was
little
a very
suspect.
early one.
They didn't let you go in third gear though.
I don't care. It's still 8. Like fucking easy.
Yeah, the rest of the track. Yeah,
like
first turn,
really
probably.
easy.
Yeah.
That is not my car. The only thing I do have a gripe with the 350Z, and it's because I got like claustrophobic. I get the window wouldn't go
I know
down all
exactly
the
what
way,
you're
and
talking
so
about.
and it was this big of a window that the tire smoke like wasn't leaving quick enough. So I started to like freak out and like I couldn't see, and I was like, oh my god.
When I'm in a Z, I feel like I am inside of something. Well, you know what I mean? Like very like
Yeah.
like the doors here, the windows here. I'm like I can't see. Like dude, the doors are way too big.
What's it feel like inside of there, Frankie?
Bro- like this.
If you sit in like any Camaro Gen 4 or up,
Oh, don't even.
and then you
yeah.
get back into his ear, like, oh, I can see everything.
Oh, now it's a normal
okay,
car.
that's
Yeah,
even.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
that
They're
like the
even worse.
Transformers gen, like where
That's a
they
Gen
got-
5.
Yeah.
But Gen 4s are
Worse?
They have this, the windshield, front and rear windshields are like, I don't know what kind of angle that is. They're just almost flat. It feels like you're literally in a tank looking through, the little peepholes. The Z feels like that a little bit, but I don't know. I have my seat as low as I can get it. I don't know. I can barely see stuff, but I just
Yeah, I don't know what
if I'm driving by sound. Or
It is the
not.
windshield too.
Driving
And the
completely. I'm
color.
just.
That seems
I'm
like
just
the right
driving
area.
by smell. Actually,
Yeah.
I prefer that way.
I do spend like half of my time off of the track too, so
Yeah.
driving through the dirt and ruts.
Oh, I thought you meant like because for me, I'm
Not just all over the infield, mow the grass a little bit. I don't know.
sometimes now I find myself like not on the track, but not because I'm spinning off, but mainly because I'm either like watching or like hanging out
Yeah.
or just like enjoying it as a whole, like that the whole drift event has to offer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's fun. God, I fucking miss the warmth.
Yeah.
Dude, I miss summer activities, dude. I'm over this.
Do we all just move to Florida?
No,
It's
not
the only
Florida.
place that's warm,
Texas?
apparently.
I don't know.
Texas, maybe.
We have some friends in the Discord who are from Tennessee, and the time what time was it? Like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, what time? What's the temperature over there? He's like, oh, it's like 10 degrees. I'm like, isn't it supposed to be hot?
No, yeah, because Texas right now is freezing. Too,
Cold.
apparently.
And I
Yeah.
thought that place was supposed to be hot too.
Yeah, it's
But I
weird.
checked Florida and it's hot in Florida, so it's
Global
okay.
warming, man.
We might be
Water
okay.
stays warm.
Global
We're okay.
warming, that's what it is.
Yeah, but I thought global warming was supposed to make it warmer.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's called global warming.
That was the original idea, but
I think
no.
climate
Now it's global
change-
cold.
Yeah, they changed it
Yeah.
to climate
Stuff
change.
just shifts around. Weird.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, bro. They're just trying to drive clothing sales up. I swear
Tesla
to God.
sales.
No,
Yeah.
well, if you think about it, bro, like the weather app controls so much of us right now. I opened the weather app.
Malcolm thinks the government controls the weather. Was it you, Malcolm, or was it someone else?
We talked about this.
Yeah.
I never said that, but I do believe it.
Why?
Like cloud seeding.
Yeah, like all that
Yes,
weird
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
They're out there.
Cloud seed. I don't really believe that.
Literally
but
making
maybe
it
it's
rain.
real. I don't know.
No,
They can do that to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. If
But do
it's
they do it? I don't.
to promote rainfall in place? Yeah,
Certain
sure,
areas.
Some stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that's. I don't know.
There's
got
gotta
to
be
something
some
they could
truth.
do on a scale to
Change the
I
climate
saw
on the
what-
earth.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know what the benefit is of that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing I always doubt with some of those conspiracy theories. I'm like, it seems I don't see the cost benefit. Here,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It's
Why
to
would they
drive
try to
clothing
fool
sales up or something, like winter
Yeah.
clothes and like trucks and like salt for
They
the
need
road.
something to drive those truck sales up right now because no one wants to buy those trucks. Dude, $90,000 for a truck is crazy.
Wait, any trucks? these
Dude, like
days?
new
Yeah.
trucks are fucking insane.
2023 Sequoia was 89 grand for that top model one. It was
Really?
crazy. I'm like, what?
That's the top model. Top model of a Ford F-150 or F-250 is probably like 120 grand by this point.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago. You could get the 350 or 450 platinum or whatever
Yeah.
maxed out over six figures. Yeah, it's crazy because like the XL, XLT, whatever with the vinyl floors, the
Yeah.
absolutely no options. They're pretty.
They're
They're
still-
like less than half.
Yeah. Yeah, they are less than half,
Yeah.
but they're
That's
still like
crazy.
50
It's
grand.
crazy. What are we
Yeah.
packing in there?
All kinds
A
of stuff you don't
Bose
really need.
stereo.
Nice stuff.
Nice
Heated
stuff,
seats,
but-
vented seats.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Vented seats are my younger brother's like benchmark for luxury. He's like, my
It's pretty
balls
good.
are cool.
Yeah. That's a good way.
What's
to do
cooler
that.
than what's like more luxurious than that?
So that's
Like,
Tony's. He's got a 2015 at Freedom.
Yeah.
And we went to right after he got it. We towed his 48-foot enclosed, 2 cars in it, down to TX2K in
Okay.
Houston. And on the way back, drove straight through all the way home, one shot, just stopping for fuel. And
It's nice.
I think it was the smart cruise, the hill descent. You know, you
Wow,
just set the
yeah.
speed, turn the air on, the climb. You know, seat's
That-
perfect. You're
that
not
sounds
sweating in the
awesome.
seat. You know,
Ooh.
just drive for 26 hours straight.
those
no
things
problem.
have like that.
I don't think I
big,
could do that in mine.
no.
The big center console too, so you're not even touching elbows with your
think-
your co-pilot.
I
Like
think you could doze off for a few minutes. It's probably fine. It'll figure
that's
it out.
crazy. I mean, actually, yeah.
Well, that's
maybe
what-
not its intention, but like actually might be okay.
So I look for new trucks every day, and I never bought one. This is for the last 7 years, and I always make sure I'm looking for the ones with the lane depart option because I'm
Yeah.
like, where it vibrates the seat or something. I was like, I need that.
That
It
could be a
doesn't-
lifesaver. You're
it's-
dozing or something.
Yeah, that
My
would have helped
mom
me a
did-
lot.
She works nights. I was like kind of hyped when she got something like that because
Yeah.
hers is she has a CRV and the wheel like, or it'll go obviously like,
Yeah.
but like it will.
Once I heard it vibrated the seat, I was like, I need that because sometimes on the way back from final bout, I'll just be, a little snooze.
The
real
whole
quick, and
cabin
then-
is awake,
and then-
except for the driver. We're asking him like, "Yo, like, do you need somebody else to drive?" Like,
and then
we're
it'll-
all here. We're
it'll
all
just
awake.
shake me a little. Oh, okay, and I'm back on the road.
I think what you want isn't like a little wheel vibration. You need the one where it's like, oh, veering out of a lane, the chair is fully gonna just like,
Yeah, that would be sick.
oh,
that
whoa,
would be sick.
oh, like. That's what you need. I know that's what you want too. Like you don't want the little vibration. Like max.
Yeah, no, that would be good.
Have you had driven any of the newer cars that actually detect when you're tired? Like little coffee cup,
No.
little coffee mug will display.
What?
Oh,
How does it know?
It's like pull over.
wait, is
Pull
that
over.
what-
You know, take a break, drink a coffee.
For me, if I saw that, it would
What?
don't
Is that
tell me
really
what
the
to do.
logo?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I think BMW has a little.
I think Mercedes
little coffee
Benz,
mug
right?
with some.
Is it?
Maybe it's German luxury car.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I'm pretty sure.
Coffee, bitch. I don't drink coffee. How about that?
Yeah, but
I want a water
don't
logo.
tell me what the fuck to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck.
That's crazy.
Wait,
How
no.
you
Halden, another friend of mine, fucking told me about this thing in Chevy called like hypercruise or
Okay.
something like that.
Hyperspace?
No, it's a towing cruise control. Is that what you were referencing before? Smart
with
cruise?
Something like that. I don't know if it's that fancy, but
You mean like towing with cruise
adaptive
control?
Cruise, yeah, and it detects if you're getting close to a car. You know, how you want to go
Yeah.
70, but there's enough cars around. Everyone seems to be driving 69 and 71 miles an hour. So just have to incrementally speed up and slow down.
It's just
It does like
weird.
an auto cruise where it'll adjust when you're catching up to somebody.
But when you're
Slow
loaded
down.
down, like I feel like I drive my truck a little differently when I'm trailering something. Like I'm not like, whoop, like you know what I mean? Like I'm not like kick down method. This
so
thing.
it knows you have a trailer on it.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, and it would also, like for the hill descent stuff, it
Yeah.
has an exhaust brake, and
so you
if
can
you
hit,
have that turned on, you're going downhill and you're gaining speed. It actually turns.
it's
the
got a Jake brake.
exhaust brake on. It'll
You're shitting me.
downshift.
You're
Yeah,
Not a Jake brake, but
yeah,
it's
not
got-
quite. Not it doesn't actually change the exhaust valve timing. but
Ah,
like,
shit! It doesn't.
just an exhaust brake.
just
It
fucking
sounds
like
kind of like it, but it's not
Yeah.
as cool. It's not that loud.
that'd be good enough for me, dude.
Could you explain to me and the listeners how a real launch control, or rather two-step system works? Because I know a lot of people think it's just like some simple thing you can do in the tune. Like all the street takeover kids, they want the two-step thing, but
Yeah.
they don't realize that
Is
a
that
real
still
one is...
people like
So
that
a lot
still?
of that, like generally, from like the most basic standpoint, I guess, like any of the anti-lag stuff, you're looking basically at reducing timing, maybe sending some extra fuel through the exhaust. You're just looking at generating heat. Heat drives the turbo.
Yeah.
The more you retard your timing, you're taking heat out of what would normally be going into the chamber and the water cooling of the engine. You're sending it out the exhaust instead. So more heat spins the turbo up. You can even see that. Say you start on a bass tune, you have it just deliberately like 5 or 6 degrees low on timing.
Yeah.
You might overshoot boost by several psi. Add the timing in, make more power at lower boost. The boost will, the amount of boost it'll make on the same wastegate setting can vary just by how much timing you have in the engine, if it's too low or not.
Okay.
So it's that kind of concept where, and you can, there's more to it with the timing of the ignition cut and all of that. But
And when they talk about this stuff, I always think about rally racing when like the real anti-lag, where it's
Yeah.
like you let off the gas, but aren't those cars set up way different, where it's like pumping air into the system or something?
yeah, that's a secondary air injection anti-lag.
Oh,
So
okay.
same type of concept, except actually introducing fresh air into the exhaust manifold. So when you send that extra fuel out of the exhaust with the really high EGTs, you get actual combustion events happening in the exhaust manifold.
Okay.
Which would
which-
then make it like not lag. Is that why?
Basically,
Yeah, and you
I
can-
never knew that.
You
the
ever see
fresh
people
air.
make those? They'll put like a fuel stack on a turbo, maybe see welded onto like a heater exhaust pipe or something on a drum of some sort.
What the?
They'll take an old air tank.
I think
and
I've
put
seen
a
that.
tube out of that into the turbine housing of a turbo, and then the outlet of the turbo goes back into the tank. Then you just burn coal or wood or whatever in it. And you can actually, if you do it right, you can get the turbo to run like a jet engine, feeding itself from just a fire from a fuel stack.
What the
So,
fuck?
take that concept. It's a little jet engine, more or less. So if you fuel it, it doesn't need anything else other than hot air spinning the turbine.
Yeah.
And it's going to recycle that. It's compressed air, feed the turbine with even higher air density. Like you could run, like especially with the secondary air injection. I mean, theoretically, if you had an ignition source and a fuel source that was feeding in the exhaust, I mean, you don't have to have a running engine to make the turbo run.
Yeah. You're just spinning the turbo.
Kind of.
And that's just so when you're
Like
off throttle, the
theoretically.
turbo is spinning at like full power.
Yeah, so you could be off throttle, and there's different ways. The secondary air injection that's more or less like a bypass. Instead of a blow-off valve, it just reverts any pressurized air from the compressor side into the exhaust manifold. You're basically just using the engine to just throw hot air and fuel into the turbo and try to generate that combustion events in the exhaust manifold.
Yeah.
Holy
Because you'll come back on throttle then, and it's the turbo's like
Oh,
the shaft speed's going to be
Yeah.
right up there at whatever it needs to be for.
So you can do that minus the
Target boost.
secondary air system. You can kind of make the engine do that. Are you kind of like making it have a load on itself? But
You could do it with drive by wire too, or a throttle kicker, even if it's drive by cable. some of the easier, cheaper, they don't work quite as well as an actual, air injection system. But if you just kick the throttle open while the engine's on decel,
Yeah.
you can't have it have the normal ignition and fuel. It would be the same as stepping on the throttle. But yeah, you could do like a cyclic ignition cut, like a cyclic idle, like a lot of those cars have.
Because my friend was talking about he wanted to get this on a Subaru, and I was like, so it's kind of like brake boosting, but not having to brake boost, maybe. Like
Yo, that's what I was thinking too.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you said when you're off throttle, it's like stabbing the gas. I'm thinking is of when you put the clutch in, you're pulling the handbrake, and you're going boom, 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 boom.
Oh
boom,
yeah, you keep it
dump.
revs up. Yeah.
And that's spinning
this
the turbo.
one, I'm thinking you're putting load on the engine, maybe. Or no, I don't know.
So not so much. Like some of them do, they'll just cut a certain cylinder out of the spark pattern.
Yeah.
So you just have a cyclic ignition cut that's just cutting a different cylinder each time through the engine cycle.
Okay.
Something like that. 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, to get the engine to decel. So you're not getting like a runaway condition where you're, all that. It's effectively like having the throttle open still, but limiting the engine by some other factor than the throttle.
Okay.
I mean, and to that degree, you can also, like, if you go in and say floor a car and just reduce the timing advance, you will theoretically, you'll get to a point where it just won't rev any higher because you have the ignition so low. Like, if you've ever stabbed a CAS, a tooth or two back or retarded,
I think I know what you're saying.
you get to the point where you can floor the car and it just revs super slow because it has no timing in it. And you'll have the exhaust manifold glowing red instantly.
How would you activate? Yeah, I've been there before. How would you activate something like that while you're driving the car? Like to,
they'll usually work with the detect decel. Like
you could do this shit automatically.
So like every EFI system, pretty much every, when you lift off the throttle and you're engine braking, it turns the fuel injectors off. It just knows at this much vacuum and this low of throttle in this RPM window, like above the idle area, turn the injectors off because it's just engine braking anyway.
Yeah.
So you could detect it in that same kind of method, or clutch switch, or a combination of things. A lot of those cars, if you're thinking like WRC cars, they don't have a clutch switch really. Yeah. I mean, they do, but you're not clutching when you're downshifting and shifting up very much.
Yeah.
Usually it'll have sequentials.
Dude, I wish I could drive a rally car.
Is that whole era like a tuning phenomenon? Like, because now that's like 80s, okay?
I'm thinking like the ones when I was growing up.
Group B.
Like, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know that
when you
much
say
about Group
rally
B
and
shit.
anti-lag, I don't think of anything else except for Group B. And I'm hearing it like,
yeah, I just think of
like again and again.
Early 2000s when I was watching like rally racing. I always think about
it's the same era I think of.
Yeah.
But same
kind of shit, I'm sure.
Mackinnon, and like Colin McRae type
Colin,
Subaru.
Yeah.
That sound like, and it's always like at a hairpin or something because you hear it like they pull
let
a
off.
handbrake and then they're off, and then that's when you hear it.
Or you hear it when they hit a little jump.
As a kid, I didn't know what the fuck that was, and then I knew it's anti-lag, and now that I know what kind of causes the anti-lag, now I'm like, oh, I kind of get why fire comes out.
Yeah.
Because it's literally combusting.
Yeah.
TurboSmart makes a special valve for doing secondary air injection now, and even like you mentioned, somebody adding on a Subaru, definitely Evos. I think Subarus also, they came equipped with that hardware in Japan.
What?
They have this. There's an extra vacuum, like for an Evo. There's an extra vacuum can underneath of the manifold, and it has a solenoid that controls it. So, and there's some piping that runs around. You can actually see it on every Evo in the U.S. between runners 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. There's these weird flat spots. That's actually, they're drilled out and have banjo bolts in them
in Japan.
For homologation reasons. They have it on OE cars in some countries.
Oh, okay. So
It's
it's not
sort
hooked
of
up
like
really, but it's
I don't know
just
if it's
there
ever on from the factory, but tape, like those guys doing the open source ECU stuff on the Evos back in the day on Evo M.
Yeah.
They found those tables.
They actually have like an air tank that's there too.
Yeah,
What
so
the fuck?
Yeah, off throttle, you'll dump stored compressed air from that tank
It's so sick.
into the exhaust manifold.
I want an Evo now.
I know that, dude. I like Evos, but the thing is I can't. Shout out Johnny, Evo fanatic.
Yeah, he probably knows about this shit.
He definitely knows about this. We have a friend named Johnny. He's just this like spirit that just floats around.
Dude, he lives in the mountains, Bear Mountain area. He just
Whoa.
lives up there.
Whoa.
Well, that's not where he is.
Yeah, he's
so,
never there.
Yeah, there's another one, but dude, he's there. I'll go hiking on the weekend, and I'll go up and I'll just see Johnny asleep in his car.
Waiting.
I'm like, what are you doing up here? It's
Car's
like
cooling
8 in the
down.
Always doing some runs. Like, dude, that's all he does. So, but it's pretty sick. He knows everything about Evos. That's our Evo guru.
I wish he was here to hear like all.
He'll
Hopefully
hear it.
he'll listen.
He'll hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. Anti-lag is sick, but all the kids want now is just...
They just want it to make a loud
They just
sound.
want the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't pop bangs, flame tunes. I don't ever do any of those.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It's,
Yeah, what
most
are
of the time, it's the emails we get like, "Who to flame tune on my 21
Flame
Supra?"
tune? Yeah.
Don't reply. Block.
I mean, dude, we get phone calls almost every week, I would say.
I just realized we haven't even delved into probably what the kind of shit you run into on a daily basis now.
Yeah, they're always looking for those tunes.
I just feel like that's the thing.
Burble tune.
as a
Burble tune. That's what they
mission
call it.
standpoint,
burble
Burble
tune.
tune.
Burble
Yeah.
tunes.
Why does that just sounds fucking horrible?
Sounds
So, like,
broken.
why
Yeah.
do you even want to?
Just trying to
Hey,
fake
I'll tell you
them.
who did it. It's BMW. That's the those are the because
Is
BMW programmed like after fire in their stock tunes like fucking 10 years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago now. But I remember the second you'd let off the throttle, you'd hear like a little thing, and I looked into it, and it was programmed from the factory to do that, to like add some exhaust noise, I guess. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna blame them, because the second you put an exhaust on one of those cars, you really hear it.
I think people just want to emulate that
Yeah,
anti-lag
And that
sound.
too.
Yeah.
You know, they want to fake the funk.
yeah.
I mean, like
But-
some car again. To Frankie's point, that came in that my roommate has.
Does it do something
Was
like
the
that?
first car that I heard where it wasn't a BMW and it does it really aggressively.
Really?
Yeah, like
From the factory.
from the factory. It has the Porsche exhaust. It's the valved exhaust where you could like switch
Yeah.
it to loud and quiet or whatever. On loud, you know how far my driveway is from driveway to corner.
Yeah.
If it's accelerating from that distance to there and you decel, it does it so loudly already. Like it's like
so weird. So they're obviously doing it from the factory now. I
his sounds
guess.
a little different. No, I fuck with it.
Yeah.
Shit's cool.
I mean, a lot of they just tune the decel areas, like turn the decel fuel off, kind of. A lot of times, like we were talking about how fuel injectors are off on decel. If you leave them on and just retard the timing a lot in that area of the map where you're under high vacuum, you'll do that. It'll bang a lot really
Yeah.
loudly.
Is that
But
bad for it? Technically,
yeah,
horrible.
I mean, it's not.
Ideal.
Yeah, it's not helping anything. Can't really do it with having a factory catalyst overheat it. So and that would also
No,
that
these
would
kids
also
better
arrest it. You would-
stop.
Yeah, so it's really, you know, I always think of it as like, you know, the EPA really shut down diesel tuning.
Yeah.
I feel like rolling coal was a big factor in that. A lot of those videos went
Yeah.
viral. People like rolling coal on a group of people dining in, you know, along
I know
the front of
exactly
a
where you're
restaurant,
going
you know
with
what I
this.
mean?
Not my
And
favorite
yeah,
shit. Hey, do you
It's
smoke?
nothing. It's a big red flag that says, I'm defeating you know, factory emissions equipment.
Please catch me.
And the whole point is, you know,
Yeah.
draw attention to yourself. You're drawing attention to the one thing that we really want to be on eggshells about right now, which is
I don't even know what the
defeating
current
emissions.
update is on that. Last time I looked into that was like over a year ago, but I know they were in court and all this with the EPA and
Yeah, there's a lot. If you check SEMA, there's ongoing.
they're the
stuff.
ones that were involved with it, I guess. It was SEMA.
They're trying to fight it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a whole what do you call that? Collecting
Petition?
signatures. Petition. Yeah, because they want to lock it down to the point like if the car ever came with a VIN number, it's a street car, can't do anything.
Yeah, it
with
was scary shit.
like kill the industry stuff.
Yeah, no, that's
And I don't think driving around backfiring randomly is like
Helping.
helping anything.
No, not at all.
I don't know anything that's going on in that space, but I do know enough where I'm like, that's why I ask about what do you think is going to happen in the future? Because even that right there, I didn't really know a lot about. I didn't know SEMA's involvement in it. I didn't know anything about that. But I do know it would kill industry, kill hobby. It would be
Yeah.
just like a part of our memory, maybe, if that was happening. Maybe not in our lifetime. I feel like maybe not in our lifetime,
Or
hopefully.
we find a way around it, like we find a way around most things. But still, I mean, this country, there's a lot of leniency with cars still, and I feel like it could go away at any moment.
Damn.
Yeah, if you just look by comparison at some other places, it's
Yeah.
you do a lot more here.
I mean, you know, I'm not saying that that I don't abide by the law, or maybe that any of my cars have ever been
Dude,
inspected.
I mean, the things that people get pulled over for in Canada,
yeah,
is insane.
too much like of a tire, like that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, the cars looks lowered.
Yeah,
Like
stops.
Australian Malcolm Jordos, shout out Jordos, self-proclaimed Australian Malcolm. He gets a ticket for having the tire just that far out in Australia.
dude, cops
and it's
around
like-
here
and
wouldn't
it's
know what
by-
the fuck. They'd be like, "Is this stock?"
And if you like,
It's
if
by
you-
measurement. Like it's by fine. Like 22 millimeters. You $220 for you.
That's
Oh, yeah, they'll come and measure your headlights.
Yeah, it's
all
crazy.
kinds of- if you have coilovers or, even if it's vented, drilled, slotted brake rotors or anything, if you change anything related that could be a safety aspect of the car, you should get it recerted to be legal.
I would
It has
just be
to go
trying
through.
to figure out how to leave that country. That's all I'd be trying to figure out.
I think it's like here where different states have different
Yeah.
rules or different counties.
Yeah, so certain
or even
areas of
inside the same
Canada.
state here are different, but
I think right now I'm in that. Hopefully, I can just enjoy this as much as I can. State.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think about this shit often because I have a shop.
Let me just get one 1J
Yeah.
experience, please.
But I'm always just like, hopefully they just grandfather in old cars. Like I keep telling myself that. I'm like, maybe they'll just let the old car people do whatever they want.
it's good. They're like it's gonna kill itself.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, right.
I feel
we're
like
gonna fucking be
the
here.
old car thing is like cars that precede the Clean Air Act,
Exactly. Something like that.
1972.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. Technically, if they really crack down on those laws that exist, they could restrict anything newer than like 72 or 74. I don't remember what it is.
Well,
Older than
guys,
the cars we like.
I'll be out on the street.
That's bad. No. Hopefully, okay. Here's what I'd want to happen if this happened to us right now. We would be fucking.
What?
In the Harley and the Davidsons documentary, how they got like those street racing people that are building the cars on the low, but
Okay.
that's us, bro.
Oh, great.
We would be
I'm going to prison.
We would be so fucking cool, man.
Like instead of biker gangs, we just have 90s Japanese sports car gangs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then all the American car people will be separate, but then they'll be like, shit, we're fighting for the same thing.
Dude, they'll let them get away with it somehow. They'll let the American cars get away with it.
But then the American cars will be like,
Yeah, I think worst case it'd be like they're just going to regulate harder with cars that are on the street, registered, actually
right, yeah.
putting in miles every year. Like, in PA, if you're under 5,000 miles, you're emission exempt.
I didn't even know about this. What is that?
Oh, that's
You're
Pennsylvania.
mad
It's
calm. Andy's a
Pennsylvania. I
calm
forget we're in a
guy,
different
bro. He's
state.
already looking at the pro. He's like, you know what? It probably might not even be that bad. Me and Frank are like,
He's
fuck,
a half glass full guy.
the world is
Well, see,
over.
I said at this point in my age, I daily drive a diesel pickup anyway, so
Yeah.
the fun car stays on the track.
Yeah, we're not like
So
that.
I'm not too
though.
worried about a street car.
I-
me personally.
A
Yeah.
piece of me, I feel like hopefully I start to think like that too, because it costs me more money to drive my toys on the street.
Nah, that's more important. Street
Exposure, you could get hit by somebody. Like,
That's kind of killed it for me. I was in a couple bad car accidents as a passenger, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? We don't need to go fast.
yeah,
on the
that's.
road.
I don't really speed on the road, but if I do, I'm driving my car out on the street for a completely different reason, and it's just because I want to bring this thing that I worked mad hard on the street,
Yeah.
so everybody could fucking see it
Yeah.
and suck my dick. I mean, just like see it maybe.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know.
just see it.
This is, yeah.
I like driving cars on the street. I don't think that's. Ever
I don't
gonna
know
change.
how you can enjoy your car is on the fucking ground in terms of.
And what? It's not that low anymore.
I don't know.
It's
if,
really high right now on the jack.
Yeah,
stands.
it's been high, but like
I don't know.
I used
I
to
like
enjoy it more like in my hometown, kind of in the middle of nowhere, lots of farmland
Yeah.
around. Now it's like I just feel like I'm gonna get pulled over, or hassled, or something. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm scared to like.
I feel like cops have been very lenient ever since COVID, personally, but I also have not been street
I think
driving
that's changed
a
it
drift
quite
car.
a bit. so.
Yeah, Frankie. Yeah,
But
you
I have
haven't
been
driven
doing-
like a modified car on the street in a minute.
I have been doing 90 miles an hour in the fast lane every day.
Okay.
And no one's pulled me over yet. It's weird.
Hey, bring him in. Bring him in.
yeah. No front plate, no inspection, no
Definitely no inspection.
like 3 years.
None
just
of my cars
cruising
have-
around.
Yeah, 3 years, no inspection sticker. I've never
Yeah.
had it.
I don't think the cops really give a shit anymore right now. Well,
It's
it'll
not that-
change, but
Here's what I do notice. I get pulled over. I don't know about anybody else, but my standard practice is, keep your fucking hands.
yeah.
I've never been that kind of person, but like I'm like this. I used to think this mattered You know, like
Oh, yeah.
you remember, like yeah,
I
they're
have
gonna know what
friends
you
that
mean.
like they just take the key out immediately, put it on the dashboard, but they're usually doing like 140 miles an hour when they get pulled over. So
No, I just know like keep your hands right there. If I'm gonna move, you know,
Yeah.
hey, I'm about to reach in my pocket. Is
Yeah.
that cool?
is that
Like-
okay?
But
And then when he's done telling you, be like, okay, so why do you have tints? Can I give you a ticket?
well, like I feel like now if I got caught street drifting, because now I find my brain wandering because I'm like I'm about to have it one day. I want to do criminal activity now.
I would definitely do that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then I'm like looking at spots and I'm like, what would I tell a cop now? Like
He's probably not even gonna catch you.
he's
he never
gonna
catch you.
He would if he caught me and
They
it
just
was
see it
just
afterwards.
it would be just me and like another person
Yeah.
because you need a spotter. Like what? Get out of here.
He'll be like, I saw you racing.
Yeah, I was
okay.
testing something out.
I wasn't. And then be like,
Your
all right, well, I saw
granddaddy's.
you. All right, well, I wasn't. And then that's it. And then he just gives you a ticket for no front plate.
America was built on doing stuff like this, buddy. Well before your time.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to have that argument with him right there, but
I would. No, I would.
you heard all the stories with Johnny getting pulled over and everything.
I would never argue with a police officer. You're crazy.
And Johnny just denies everything too.
Never. I've been pulled over once where the kid we're driving. It was my first car, where my tuner little car. It was an Integra. The wheels were already
Yep.
orange.
All
you
the
know?
stickers on the back.
Yup. Be patient. I'm lowered. All that.
Yeah.
Keychain
And you were lowered on springs or something.
on the front only. Be
was
real
a-
patient. This thing might break.
Yeah, be patient. I'm lowered.
But we were driving, and like one of the very first times I ever got pulled over was because it wasn't even my fault. Like the passenger, I had this huge banner on the front of like me and Chris's like car group.
What was it then?
It was called Royal Works
Shut the fuck up.
with an E.
Why has this not been known, Malcolm? What?
He knows about it. He knows about it. You know about Royal?
Wait, Royal Works?
I never knew about that.
Royal Works.
Where's Chris?
with
Is
an
Chris still
E?
here?
He's
No, I'm
gotta
not.
be here.
No, he's gone.
He's gone.
He left.
What a bitch.
Fuck. He would have known about Royal Works, man. But Royal Works was like the very first, like, let's hang out in a parking lot and do nothing and be really do nothing with our lives
Yeah, yeah.
for like an hour of a day. So we did that. I had a huge banner. We're driving past, and this cop is just posted up in the median, and the passenger looks at the cop as we're driving and goes, really? Really? Like sitting out in the median?
He just says. They just
And
say
the cop just pulls right out. And I'm like, why the fuck did you do that?
That's like when
It got me a ticket. It was one of the first tickets I ever got.
for the banner.
For the banner.
That's
Where normally he probably wouldn't have.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes I tell people like
Just fucking be respectful sometimes. I swear.
yeah,
Just-
yeah.
it takes like 1% to not be a scumbag.
It takes no effort to just not.
It's not going to cost you anything to be less of a dick.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like some people forget that nowadays.
I remember we got pulled over. And Miyagi was in my passenger seat. We didn't get pulled over. The whole thing was fucking ridiculous as fuck.
But you just said you got pulled over. Which one is it?
I'll tell you the story. I think I already told the story on here where like we were going to Formula D. We had the trailer. I had to stop at the bank. I must have told this recently, I think. But we pull into the bank. At the bank, there's cops everywhere. They have they have not even a speed thing. They're literally just pulling people over for no seatbelts, and they have a fucking guy in the bushes, like looking for people with no seatbelts. I'm like, this is insane
Sting
to do.
operation for seatbelts is wild.
They have a sting operation at 9 a.m. for their own townspeople. I'm like, what the fuck is the logic here? So I'm like, okay. I pull in, I see all these cops. I'm like, okay. I just block all of them in because I have a trailer. I'm like, I'm taking these 4 spots right here. Get out, go to the bank, come back in. Start pulling away. One of the cop walks, hey, whoa. I'm like, can I help you? He's like, yeah, license. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, oh, you weren't wearing your seatbelt when you made that turn back there. I'm like, when? What? What are we doing? Dude, the dumbest shit ever. I'm like, okay, here. And then right away, Miyagi's like, what the fuck is the problem? Like, immediately.
Yeah, see, fucking
Immediately starts
Miyagi.
giving the cop lip. And he's like, yeah, actually, you know what? Give me your shit, too. And he gives him his information. Miyagi gets a ticket for no seatbelt. I get a ticket for, I don't even know what.
I think the problem was that my passenger, when the cop asked him for his ID, wouldn't give it.
That's another problem, yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, after a few minutes of argument, like he never gave it to him.
I was going to say, did he ever give it to him or no?
No.
You don't have to, I don't think. But either way, you're causing a problem. So
I
now,
was
now
19.
he's gonna
My
fuck you.
face was probably blood red.
Yeah.
Like just saying, like, dude, just fucking give him the
Yeah.
fucking license.
So anyway, I had to drop the trailer off. The trailer didn't have its registration renewed or some shit. So I had to leave the trailer there, go to the DMV, renew my registration, get my truck inspected, come back, pick that up, and then go get Josh DeLisa's car from Staten Island, and then go to Formula Drift. Just because they had a sting operation at the fucking bank. Yeah, for seat and for Miyagi talking shit to the cop, but yeah. Bro. Crazy shit.
I haven't been
Tax
pulled
and
over in a
impede.
minute.
Yeah.
Knock on fucking wood. I'm not.
To me, they're just pirates. Like when I see that
highway
going on.
pirates.
Yeah, highway. They're just pirates. They're just robbing people and that's it. And it's legal. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Don't you think that's crazy? Do you not think that's crazy?
I mean, like, to an extent, like,
But
sometimes
you're
I
stealing
think...
money from your own townspeople. You're not protecting anyone.
I feel like they're just there to protect everybody from, like, scumbags. They know...
But they're looking at seatbelts.
Here's an example. Like...
Yeah, I mean, victimless crime.
Yeah.
Like, is it... I don't know. We'll say if we didn't check you for your seatbelt, we wouldn't have known you were driving with an unregistered trailer.
That's
insane. But does that really...
Yeah, no, that's not how that works. At least it should.
Is that serving the general public?
No, it's not.
You know,
that's not how it should work in this country, at least. Like, maybe Canada, but not here. Like,
Yeah,
what?
is that...
One of my favorite times to get pulled over.
Harassment.
I mean, even if you're
unnecessary.
Even if you're going to talk about speeding, like speed trap, I don't agree with speed traps either, but at least they make a little bit more sense. Like, you're
a
going
little
a
more.
crazy speed, you're
Yeah.
you're endangering people. This
there's
guy's
even
hiding in a bush
Yeah.
with binocular. Oh, he's got no seatbelt. Pull him over. Like, for fucking, if I get in an accident, I'm going to get hurt. No one else is. I have no seatbelt on. I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, why do you
What's
have
that
to
gonna do to anyone else? Right?
It's so weird.
What?
But even speed, they always like live and die by that. Like speed is what kills.
Yeah.
There's whole countries that a lot of their major highways don't have speed limits.
Yeah.
In Germany, you
Yeah.
can drive as fast as you want, and if you're near the city or something, there's a lot of traffic. Those areas have speed limits.
Yeah.
In between, you see the circle with the 3, gray hash marks. No speed limit.
And
As fast as you want.
And they have one fucking rule. Move the fuck over.
And everybody moves over.
And everyone moves over.
People know how to get on and off the highway.
But
They
here in
take
America, no one knows that.
That's
I'm
what
in the
I'm saying
right
is I
lane
think
doing
being-
150.
being careless, not paying attention, being on your phone, that's as dangerous or more. That's what's
more
causing
dangerous.
all the problems.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, over there though, even if you get caught speeding, it's like 10 euros per like 10 miles per hour over, something like
Yeah.
that. And if you get caught going 40 over, it'd be like
Yeah.
the equivalent of like less than the service fees and all that BS they slap on tickets here.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
A $15 speeding ticket's like $120.
Have you been to Europe or any
Yeah.
country like? Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been all over for my job. So yeah, I left it's town in central Germany, like Erfurt. I was driving down to Munich, couple hour drive, and I was I had a Jetta wagon TDI, and just absolutely flat on the throttle for like 2 hours straight, dude. It just like I wish I had like a data log from that ECU. Be like, I averaged 98% throttle for 2 hours.
That's so crazy.
The car would go 220 kilometers an hour downhill, just barely breached like 230.
Now, do they have speed limiters over there, like on the engines?
No, most of them can just go fast. Yeah,
Damn.
Fast as possible.
I'm just trying to think
like
what
if
my
you have like an
foot-
M5 or something, like it will go 200.
What the fuck?
I'm trying to think of what my foot would feel like. Like I'm just sitting there, like
It's kind of fun. You see a turn coming, like
Yeah.
it's a pretty wide turn, but like, can this Jetta on
Yeah.
snow tires do it at 130 miles an hour?
yeah, like
We're gonna find out.
out.
Dude, do you think that, like, now we're getting deep, but like, do you think that is like them not having like a lot of speed limits and having cars that don't have limiters and things like that? Do you think that creates an environment where people don't really find the need to do reckless shit versus America, where speed
think
limiters, speed limits, you're gonna get pulled over, speed traps?
Yeah, so like during the certain jobs we were doing, we were working in conjunction with another company, and one of the other guys that I was, traveled all over the different job sites. He would be there, German guy, and he says, most people don't speed because gas is expensive, and if you're driving 120 miles an hour, you're getting bad fuel economy.
Yeah.
Most people, unless you have the money to buy like a new M5 or a 911, like you're not speeding around because it would cost too much.
Yeah, like you're not
That's
taking
so
your Ford
crazy.
Focus to like fucking
they're
or
like, what's-
Mondeo, whatever the
What's
other
the
thing.
point?
is.
It'd be better to leave 20 minutes earlier and save $20.
So in
rather than-
America, it's I'll go to prison, and in Germany, it's the gas is too much.
but they're also like way more. They take that. They're very disciplined. They take
Yeah.
that responsibility of driving very serious. You can't drive until you're 21. You have to do
Oh, okay.
all something like that. You have to do all kinds of. It's not just like go to the DMV, run over a couple cones, and the guy's like, "Oh, fuck it, here's your license."
Dude,
Like,
the
it's
driving
actually-
test taught me
It's
nothing.
difficult
What?
to get your license.
Yeah.
And if you lose it, like you can lose it forever. But
Fuck.
that's the thing though. Speeding, not a big deal. If you don't stop completely at a stop sign where there's like a pedestrian crossing, especially
Straight to jail.
suspended.
Straight to
Like,
jail.
Yeah, you're not
Right to
driving
jail.
for a while. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess it's just different things.
So like they take that really like driving inside the towns and cities. Like
Yeah.
don't mess around. Like
So
there's people around. You could actually injure somebody by being careless.
so America, you can tap someone at a stop sign. It
I
doesn't
think
matter.
it's the
They don't speed.
the discipline part because
You don't see people on the phones on the highway. They're
yeah.
paying attention. Come up behind somebody, they move over. You actually spend more time watching your mirrors for somebody who's flying up behind you.
I'd be so scared.
Flash the high beams
Yeah.
for you to get over. People get over. That's so fun. You can just bomb down the left lane, flash your high beams, or come up with
Yeah,
somebody.
people move over.
They just move.
Dude, I tried that on Route 17. It
So
doesn't
easy.
work.
Yeah,
I'll be behind. I'll be
fucking
behind
luck.
someone for 8 hours, just going like this.
yeah, they just.
I've said it.
They're mad. Now they slow down.
Yeah,
They're
then
like,
they
"What's this
slow.
guy
Yeah.
doing?"
They slow down. That's the best.
Or someone like they have the yield sign. They're like,
Yeah. They're
run you
racing.
off the
yeah.
road.
I'm not
like,
fucking letting you in here.
just slow down.
Yeah.
Like, change-
Over my
don't
dead
drive
body.
the same speed I am.
Yeah.
Growing up in this area, I learned to just if I'm merging onto a highway, I look, and if I don't think he'll crash if he hits the brake, I just go. He'll figure it out. If it looks like a dangerous situation on my end, like I made a big mistake, that's one thing. But if it looks like he has enough time to slow down, I'm going out either way. As long as my blinker's on, he's got to figure that out. Like, dude, that's all I do now. Like, if I'll put my blinker on, I look, no one's there in the immediate area, I'm fucking going.
I imagine you're also like doing your best to get up to highway speed.
Yeah, of
you're
course,
Not, like,
of
you're
course.
Not, you're not merging in at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then once you're in
Yeah,
the
you-
flow
and
of
then-
traffic, like, oh, I should speed up
Oh,
to
I hate
the
that.
rate everyone's driving.
No, you just enter at 20 and just
Oh
stay at
my
20.
goodness.
Scoot in and just
Yeah.
hope for the best.
I like taking exits faster than the flow of traffic because then I just that's my way of saying you guys are so fucking slow that this Koya is taking this off ramp
Yeah.
that says 40 at 60
dude, that
and you're
happens,
going
yeah, all the
45 on the highway.
Or like you'll be behind someone and we're entering the highway, and then they like come to a stop, and you're like, no, that's not how this works.
Right. Yeah. It's like you just made it difficult.
Yeah, you just
sl-
made this so difficult.
If you were going the speed they were, it'd be much easier to just slide in wherever there's
I
room.
think that has a lot to do with just like I don't want to say car people, but like for some reason, people who are like in touch with driving more a little bit, they just like think of things differently. Because you'd be with like a normal person, and they're like, oh, like panicking when they get on a highway. It's like,
Or the thing, or one of my favorite things, I drive, my work is east from where I live. So in the morning, drive into the sun. At night, drive into the sun. Going down the turnpike, round the corner. Usually it's the one like right by 476, the Northeast Extension. Get flashed with the sun.
yeah,
So many people's first instinctual reaction is stomp the brakes. Like, oh, shit, I'm blind. Everybody
can't
else
see.
is too. What I should do is drastically change my position on the road and my speed on the road.
hopefully everyone behind me.
Catch them off guard, you
Figures
know,
it out, yeah.
while they're blind.
Gotcha. Like, oh, we're safe, guys.
That's fucking nuts.
That's-
dude.
You know what they won't expect? Someone going 40 right now.
The worst I've ever experienced. You know when your windshield is salty and that happens?
Oh, it's total whiteout.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I'm not slowing down.
I feel like that's
not.
I don't have any HVAC in my drift car. It didn't come with
Well,
it.
your daily has a little bit of problems
Oh,
right now.
it currently doesn't either. Yeah.
Heavy.
Plenty of wipers. Too much wipers.
Too much white.
Yeah, Andy
No
said
HVAC.
Andy said on the way here his heat stopped working and the wipers won't
Yeah.
stop going.
The wipers are just on low.
They're stuck like on the
That
low
was like
setting.
yesterday, and then today when I got in, no fan, no HVAC.
That's so annoying. What kind of
Still
is it a
calm, though.
Ford or
yeah, it's an old 01 F350.
okay?
So something, electrical problems still happen.
You're too calm, dude. It is.
My feet were a
It's-
little chilly on the way
I was
here,
gonna
but-
say it's. I want to get the degrees.
Your
I-
way home is gonna suck.
I want.
Yeah, I
It's
might do it.
32 degrees.
It's gonna be a little colder now. I might do like a couple checks to see if it's something I can at least unplug
Yeah.
the wiper motor, so that's not annoying me the whole time.
Just pull the
No, watch
Dude,
out.
it
It's gonna
It
drizzle.
gets real dried out. It's,
Yeah.
You're
for
going
2
to
hours straight while I'm driving in a 30-degree cab.
you're gonna fucking need them. Like some weird reason
That
you're
does
gonna need them,
That does happen.
Yeah.
and then you're gonna be like,
You're gonna pull that
Get
one
out and
fuse
plug it
out,
in.
and then you're gonna be driving, and then a fucking monsoon is gonna come out of nowhere, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
I have
Just
to do
leave
that on the
kick panel
IS.
Off. I'll just pop the fuse
Yeah. That's
back
what I
in
do.
while I'm driving.
That's what I
Good to
do
go.
on the IS on the drift car. The wipers will work randomly if it starts to rain, automatic.
Oh,
The problem is if it's like a light rain and it's like one of those situations where it's like
wait.
on
You have
and off rain.
automatic wipers?
No,
Oh,
that's
this
what I'm
just
saying.
happens.
It just does it. I don't know
Interesting.
why. Maybe water makes some sort of contact, some sort of short happen. So I
It's so
mean,
weird.
You might have a leak in your windshield.
maybe
That's kind of what
what?
screwed up my truck. I just happened to notice, especially with snow, when it holds the moisture on the cowl for a long time. Get in and like weird electronic stuff. What happens? I start looking under the dash and it's wet. Start pushing around the windshield and I can feel areas where it's not adhered well anymore.
Oh no, I hope not.
Had a
But
new windshield put in because it was. I mean, not right away. I drove until it was like literally falling out.
Yeah.
And then I got it replaced.
he's like, oh shit, this might be a little leak.
That negligence might be why I don't have heat right now.
that's
This-
most mechanics.
What-
The way I look at it, though, if you let a problem go long enough, eventually it's going to be really obvious what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
It's like something inside the engine's making noise. Well, keep running it because it's way easier to check
Yeah.
like your bearings and everything when half of them are on the ground.
If you
it's
can't
way easier
figure
to see,
out-
like, oh, that's the problem.
So my truck has a problem. It's had a problem for 2 to 3 years now. There's a loud banging noise in the back when I make like a right turn and get on throttle.
oh,
And I'm like, all right, this problem seems pretty fucking bad, but it's been 2 years and nothing's happened.
can't be that bad.
That's what I'm saying.
Keep working.
We always say, like Malcolm always says, like I'm gonna be getting on a highway, like on a U-turn or something, and then my bed's just gonna go one way, and my fucking truck's gonna be going the other way.
It's like one of those things. Like the more you work on cars, the less you want to work on your own car.
Yes,
So it's-
yeah, but also that theory is right though. Like if you don't know what it is, and you're not gonna get stranded because you're a mechanic or something, you just fucking keep driving it till it breaks.
yeah. Eventually, it'll make itself obvious.
It'll make it obvious.
That's
Yeah.
why that doesn't work.
Now you
Like
don't
once
want to
my
do that with
fuse
a race
box is
car.
on fire, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's why my wipers are stuck on.
Oh
was gonna
shit,
say,
I knew that
This
relay.
could be a really dangerous idea
It's so
too.
obvious now.
Yeah, it's so obvious. My car's on fire.
Something shorting and sparking under the hood. Like, I bet that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that smell?
There it
And then
is.
flames are just coming out from under the hood.
I
That's
got an extra roll of electrical tape in there. I'll just
Yep.
close enough.
The guess and check the early tuning and self-taughtness has like weathered you so well. You just don't care anymore. You're like,
he
"Eh."
is. Yeah, he's a
Oh,
very.
it's definitely.
calm
I'm
person.
jaded now. Just from being in cars and stomping on the throttle. Like that used to make me nervous. Just getting in a car on the dyno. There's a lot going on. And I forget about it until I have someone else like operate a car in the dyno. They're like, it's so weird. Like you're sitting stationary and there's so much noise and everything going on. I'm like,
Dude,
I
that
don't even
shit.
notice it anymore.
That shit is so scary to me.
I think that kind of fell over the time that I wasn't driving on track. Once I was driving on track again, that very much changed the way I feel like when I'm actually going out drifting.
Really?
Don't think about stuff like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
I have friends that are like, oh, I get nervous around like tree turn. I'm always looking at those barrels out there. I'm like, there's barrels out there? Like, what? He's like,
I
yeah,
tell
if you're
people-
wide, you're going to hit those barrels. I'm like, I don't know.
I just tell people I black out
Just
the
don't look
moment
at
we
'em.
go. I don't remember. I can't. You probably couldn't even ask me.
So
what
what,
the
you're
fuck
like-
I look like doing up there.
You're like more confident now.
Yeah, I just don't think about, there's like, in my mind, there are zero consequences on track.
Maybe it's because
No.
you didn't drive the car there too.
That's incredible.
That helps.
Yeah,
That definitely helps.
That's a big deal.
Like, I'll just wad the thing and be like, that was fun.
Yeah,
I guess
eh.
I'm not drifting for a little while.
Is
So-
it just because you're able to trust it more mechanically? Because you're like, I know the limit of this thing.
I don't know even about that because I don't bolt check as much as I should.
Jesus.
Sometimes I'm
Christ.
just like, it's probably fine.
It's a Z, so
Or something will even be loose. Like I feel a wobble, like, oh, there's definitely a control arm coming off. But,
this is more
It's
like
like
Tom
two-
Nazaro
2
mentality.
more laps left in this session.
Dude,
I could ride it out.
I don't think Tom's doing that.
Probably. If he feels something loose and he's he probably just keeps drifting it.
I've had that only happen, knock on wood, one time, and it was when we went to Mid Pond, which was what, like 15, 16 hours away from here. The wheel, I guess, fell off. The IS, the ball joint whole situation thing.
Mhm.
Well, It happened to me. So
Seen that before. Yeah.
like it happened like of course like at the worst time far away from home, but I could not have been more unbothered by it, I guess.
Could have been even worse if you were in tandem and he was like
And it went,
right.
boop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it happened like we were driving. I did one drift and I'm like, oh, okay. That was pretty good. Did some of these. I'm like, something felt kind of loose. And as soon as I went like one,
See, that's it.
it went oonk. And I'm like, whoa.
But how much easier was it to troubleshoot?
It was pretty easy. We still couldn't figure out what it was. I was like, I thought the coilover snapped. But then it got worse because the wheel fell off. And I was like, oh, that's got to be the problem.
Oh my god, dude.
So I guess your theory is pretty good, though.
What is that like when your wheel falls off and you're
I
like,
feel like that's
oh.
the funniest thing.
It was funnier, I guess, for everyone else because, like, I swear to you, like,
You're looking at your mangled up fender over your hood, like,
Yeah.
oh,
yeah,
man.
no, I
Your
got
fender
it
kinda
off.
survived.
I got it off track and everything. Like, I was
crazy.
driving. I'm telling my buddy Ethan, I'm like, yo, something's wrong, I think.
You really drove that shit off the track? Like
Yeah, and the ball joint was just resting on the inside of the FN01,
Yeah.
and it was just, and then we slowed down. I saw the wheel or the car was a little, cockeyed.
I mean, I guess the tie rod's still on there, so yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but the problem was after we stopped and then tried to go. That's when it just went, boom.
Yeah.
That's where that picture is. I'm like,
Yeah.
some photographer dude. I forgot who took the
At
picture.
least you
but
got a good photo of it.
he happened to be walking by, like, whoa, and I'm like, yo, get this really quick.
So
'cause
that
I
was
don't-
staged. Took up his Carl stage photo.
Yeah, because then after that, I just wanted to focus on getting it
Yeah.
where it's got to go.
That reminds me of this was a long time ago. Like I used to have an RX-7. I got it from Rich had it before me, and ended up with his cousin Eric, who fabricates at Freedom.
Oh wait.
I don't know if you know Eric Beck at Freedom.
Well, I
That's
remember
Rich's
an
cousin.
RX-7 drifting with Rich. Was that the same car or was that a different
Rich
car?
had it before I did. This was 2011 to 2013.
Okay, I'm thinking
It was
like
a while ago.
2014.
Holy
It
crap.
was a LS1 black
Okay.
FC. But Eric had it, and he was out at Club Loose, just getting closer and closer to the wall until he got too close. And like the steering was not right in the car either. Like if you go a little too far, like it had no lock stops. You go a little too far, wrap the tie rods, and you're stuck. Like it's trouble.
my god.
So-
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it was not like perfect.
Safe?
It was not well set up, we'll say.
Okay.
And he's getting closer. Something happened. Catches the back of the car, pulls the front end into the wall. But it's just that image of just a wheel with a hub and coilover attached to it,
Yeah.
just rolling down the bank towards tree turn. Just a whole left front corner, or I forget which side. But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just the whole corner, suspension and wheel just cruising away.
There's
from the
another
car.
IS300.
So funny.
A friend of mine from, I forget, he's in New York somewhere, but his name's Amar. He has an IS300 as well. He got memed, dude.
Oh,
Like,
meme?
because it was
Yeah.
the whole wheel, with the spindle rolling. Like so many photos of it got taken. I was like,
Just
damn, man.
out completing the lap. That was that happened at OSW with who drives the Mustang in pro? Travis Reeder?
Are you talking about when
No.
all the wheels came off?
Beecham.
I don't know.
We don't.
No, somebody lost Beecham in practice at OSW. One of the years I was down there, he lost a corner. I don't know. One of the rear wheels came off. I don't know what broke. It's kind of rough there when you transition from the bank down in the infield. And the wheel finished the lap, and as soon as it crossed the line, everybody starts cheering. It was just so funny.
Wait, because if it was an oval track, it like rode the wall for a while?
I forget where exactly it came off. If it was on like the infield last turn.
But it
yeah,
crossed the
just-
line, like
it
actually.
came off the car, flipped a few times, landed with a fair amount of momentum, and just rolled over the finish line.
My worst
sick.
fear
It was
is if
just so
that
funny
happened.
when everyone cheered for it.
Yeah. My worst fear though is that it would hurt somebody else.
Yeah.
That's a
the
moving
thing
object. Like
with the mobile dyno stuff, something flying off and hitting somebody, I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah. What kind of insurance can you get for that?
a waiver.
Liability. Yeah, you can't get a waiver from everybody that's there. I mean, presumably, you just have to work with an event organizer and see, what kind of waiver they have. Like,
Maybe you just put that in there too.
Put that in the waiver when they
for
enter the
everyone on
Yeah,
the premises.
flying dyno parts.
now, I've never had any in like I bought that dyno a little over 10 years ago now, right around 10 years. and nothing's ever flown off, even in the shop, wherever.
That's
Had
good.
like a tire DB'd, which doesn't do much. You just kind of shift side to side a little.
Yeah.
No big
I
deal.
would be shitting
Had
myself.
like drive shafts vibrate, and
Oh, God.
abort runs for stuff like that, or hear a rear wheel like coming loose and lift, but nothing that did any damage or flew off.
But you've had like, have you had like motors blow like that? I feel like that's
Um,
got to be more common
it's
than like a hardware issue.
I had only like very, very recently had a catastrophic, and it was an SR, So
Of course it
that'll
was.
happen, of course.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. It was a freshly built engine, and it just dumped number 4 rod.
Oh, there's a million reasons
know
why.
why.
So.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I don't know. Something was up with it, but that's the first one I've had. I actually
First
That's
one?
the first time like inside parts become outside parts.
Oh,
That's
it
pretty
windowed itself.
impressive that was the first one.
I've had stuff like, also mostly SRs. They come in, they're like, I just assembled this engine myself. I do run the limiter, and it has a obvious rod knock on
Yeah.
cell, and I'm like, you're gonna get to do it a second time yourself too. Oil's fully glitter. Like, yeah, that. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
I guess you could run an engine so badly that you would do, but
Yeah.
Now, when-
you're not
when-
wiping
when-
out bearings with a tune on a 300 horsepower 4-cylinder, you can't even make. You'd blow a head gasket or fold a rod long before you'd hurt a bearing from the tune being way off. Like
Yeah.
that stuff. That's just Nissan stuff. Oil supply, not the greatest.
Yeah.
They're kind of known for that, right? Even the VQs. You
Yeah,
don't keep
man.
those topped up with oil. You're gonna. Have
I
a
feel
rod
like
knock.
VQs you're gonna blow up no matter what you do.
I think
Eventually.
they're durable. I don't know. I
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
manage to
I'm thinking the
blow 'em up.
old ones, not the newer.
Mine's an 03, and that engine
So it's a
had
DE, right?
yeah
yeah.
DE 200 something thousand miles. It took it out of my car, and now it's in Kyle Supco's S14, and it's still going.
Yeah.
I mean, it burns a lot of oil, especially on cold start.
I was about to say
Keep it
that's
topped off though.
Yep,
That's how you know it's good. It's like, all right, oil's
it's
still
working.
in there.
It's
Probably
working.
add a little bit more.
I'm gonna get a Z eventually one day for the shop because I do want to build one of those cars.
Rev ups are not the most reliable, but D's. My daily driver has 335,000 miles.
Really?
I killed the engine eventually, but
Okay. Yeah.
I was.
Calmly, like
It
yeah,
it was my bad.
So, but it's always like a negligence type
Yeah.
of. It's self-inflicted wound type of. It's
So
a
you have
good
a-
engine.
so
it really is.
You have a daily 350Z?
Yeah. I have another 03. Got it from. It was abandoned. It was at an impound lot.
Oh wow.
Got it cheap. 335,000 miles. Someone took care of it,
Holy shit.
and then I got it. It's not so nice anymore.
335,000 miles on a Z.
I changed the oil. Didn't do anything else for 5,000 miles. Then I was at a friend's shop, and we were all doing donuts. So bought the whole tire. I'm going to use the whole tire.
Yeah.
Went through like an entire pair in one nonstop donut session. Parked it.
I just picture that engine screaming. But
I know.
But it's an old man.
It went from like
just
Yeah.
like again and again and again and again and again. Until
But the
it's
engine is
red.
like an old man because it's got
it's
300,000
tires.
Help me.
And like it was like 5 minutes of limiter, just straight to key off, put it in park, and go inside. And then when I left later, I keyed it on, and that like before it builds oil pressure, that first hit had a little wrap. I was like, oh, that's it.
That's new.
So then the next day when I got home, I checked the oil, nothing on the dipstick. All right, at least a quart, nothing. Another quart, just getting there. All right, well, that makes sense. I didn't check it for 5,000 miles. So.
Okay.
With 300,000 miles,
It probably
Yeah,
would
fair.
have lasted.
Yeah.
I
Probably
bet
if
it-
it had oil in
yeah.
it before you did the
I
donuts.
felt a little
yeah.
bit bad because that was a kind of a dumb way to end its streak, but
Yeah.
you know what?
Shit
It's-
happens.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Play stupid games. Win
Plenty
stupid
more
prizes.
DEs for like $500.
I hope Derek gets his shit. Derek said he got his shit
You
ready
know what
to go.
makes me so mad that they don't make that twin turbo kit from Greddy anymore? That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I know it's probably
can,
terrible, but
They have adapter plates to put factory GTR turbos on them. BTW sells them.
I want something that's like I like the Greddy kit because it was like I know those turbos were not big. I just want it
Yeah.
to change the sound, hopefully.
Oh, it makes them sound fine.
Yeah.
Even a single turbo setup, just like build a Y pipe from the stock manifolds.
Yeah.
Changes everything.
That was it because I don't want to push power. Like,
Yeah,
I
you
just
ever
wanna
see the
change
ones
the
now
thing.
with the turbo in the back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's up
rear
with
mount.
that?
Z?
Yeah. You know what's up with those?
Crazy.
I never really like did research into that shit, but all I think about is like Is the exhaust pressure the same when it's all the way back there? Like, I guess.
Yeah, you get enough velocity back there. You got to pressurize the whole pipe, but it's not as laggy as people make it out to be.
You know what? You know
see
what's
it a lot
really,
on LS cars, but
yeah,
it's not bad.
you know what's really important when you have a setup like that? Exhaust leaks.
Yeah,
Probably.
you definitely need all your gaskets. In there and tight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You should have
That
seen the
matters.
look on my face when I saw one of those for the first time. It was a G37, and obviously the bumper's cut.
Yeah,
I'm driving
like
behind.
a Lambo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
No,
think
no,
a lot
but-
of people are trying to do the rear dual mounts.
It was just a center.
Mimic the.
Just
Yeah.
the center section, enough for you to see the turbo. The entire time, mind you, I'm not the smartest person in the room sometimes, but the entire time I'm driving behind this thing, questioning if that's a turbo.
You're
And
like,
I was like, what the fuck am I looking at right now? Like, because the filter's right there, the turbo, and then,
Yeah.
it sounds different.
have you tuned one of those, like a rear mounted setup?
Not on a VQ, but on LSs. Yeah.
And did you notice any? I mean, it's so hard to ask that question. But.
Not. I mean, if you did a back to back, like the same
Yeah.
setup with mounted in the front or mounted in the back, I'm sure there's a difference. There's
Dude,
definitely
I
be
feel
a
like there's-
discernible difference, but it's not bad.
It's
I mean,
so
for a street
crazy.
car, the one was an automatic GTO, built engine, and had like a I don't know,
Yeah.
76 millimeter, something that's not that big for a 6-liter.
I was gonna say 76 millimeters, kind of
I
large.
guess 76, 75's too small for that engine, really. But
So this might be a dumb comparison. You tell me if it's dumb. You know how people are always like, "Oh, I got to put a high mount intercooler in because I don't want all the piping going down." Do you think that's like relatable?
So there's a little. I mean, it's still area you have to fill, but yeah, that volume in the grand scheme of things isn't a ton.
yeah.
I mean, but I don't get me wrong, I really like a clean setup like that too. Like I doing a VR30 swap into my car,
yeah.
and they have, dual twin turbo, twin air to waters, and the turbo outlets just go straight up to the intercooler,
Yeah.
straight into the throttle body.
It's definitely nice.
Like
but
that's gonna get you that a little bit, but
Yeah,
you're
like
talking in the
barely.
case of like small percentages.
and then I think about Subarus when they do the opposite. They'll be like, "Oh, I need a front mount
Oh,
intercooler."
the piping runs
The piping is
just like 3 laps around the engine bay.
yeah, it's like you're adding
Hate it.
7 feet of piping when you literally had 1 foot or less. And
Yeah.
then, but they run those cars and they're like, "Oh, they never complain about it." And
No,
I'm
there's
like,
a whole thing to sizing the piping, like the air velocity. Like, Garrett has a nice tool on their website.
"Oh, really?"
Like ideally, like for intercooler piping and all that, you want your airspeed to be like half a Mach. And yeah, you can get way into. I'm sure it's a lot of fabricators.
I
get
want
into
Mach
that,
5.
I know. I'm like, give me the Mach 10
airflow at Mach
fucking
1,
intercooler.
not great.
Yeah,
But apparently half the speed of sound
That's
is
so
the magic number.
that's so interesting.
I didn't fuck. What? I'm over here like intercooler piping. Just
What do you think in
connect
the
one
terms of
end
that,
to the
though? Like,
other.
the air is going hundreds of miles per
It's
hour through there.
Kind of insane.
It's gonna cover the ground that 1 foot. It's gonna get there.
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
think
It's not gonna
it's
take it real long.
Yeah, like
Half the time it takes you to yell at the throttle body that air's gonna be there. You
Yeah.
know, like that's pretty fast.
that's so crazy. Half a Mach. What the fuck? I never knew that,
definitely the
there's
first
all
time that's been
kinds of-
said on here.
Yeah.
dude. The
Mach?
air's yeah.
The fuck?
So that's ideal airspeed, I guess. They say Garrett says.
The general rule of thumb, something like that. There's all kinds of stuff you can read on
Yeah.
cylinder head design and airflow, and that's I don't know. All I know is if you use a turbo to make the air pressure higher, it gets better. It takes out some of those imperfections of port flow a little
Yeah.
bit.
I feel like
So score 1 for turbos.
I try to always go back. Well, especially now after the conversation we just had about like there are limitations, but like the turbos have been around for a while. Like what the hell were they doing before? Just like making it.
This is
Yeah.
the crazy
Spin.
stuff too that I like. I like the idea of the flip, like intercooler piping's mounted high.
Yeah.
I smash into the ground a lot with my drift cars.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm like, I would rip all that piping out.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's clear.
That makes sense.
When I go through the woods,
Yeah.
it'll stay intact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll put. I need to short route my intercooler piping. Take a 12 inches of intercooler pipe will tell up, but I want to run this old T series. Just get a G25,
Bro, that's
it's
so
gonna make it so much better. And it doesn't matter. Like
That's so true. Oh my god.
Those
these
G
people
series
misappropriate funds
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
much, and I get that all the time. People ask me, That's one of my pet peeves. I get a lot of texts from people like, it's not not the median. It's if a couple people here and there. I'll have customers that, hey, I want to get tuned next year when I get my car finished. Text me like all this. What would you run? Your opinion on these parts, whatever. And I'll tell them like this is what I would get. And they show up with like
not that
the exact opposite
Some
of
shit
what I would
Faction
get.
Motorsports would put on.
I'd be
No,
like,
that's what I do to
106.
Frankie.
The one thing you don't want to skimp on is injectors. And we're like,
Yep.
Well, eBay had these genuine Bosch injectors for cheap, and I'm like, man, you did
the one
and I
thing.
got them used. Like, that's great. You made it worse somehow.
Yeah.
The one thing.
That kind of segues us into. I mean, somebody we have all these questions here, but somebody asked how to size their turbo appropriately. Does that piping and all of that?
I don't know. I'll probably get some kickback on this one, but my opinion is
Yes.
the smallest turbo that can meet your goals with probably the biggest or close to the biggest AR turbine housing that it comes with. Getting a turbo that's too big and choking it with a small AR turbine housing is not going to make up for the amount of lag you're introducing just from the inertia from all that extra wheel and mass that you're trying to spin. You're way better off get a turbo that you're going to ring out to get to your goal and then choke it as little as possible. The biggest turbine housing you can get. It's going to outspool the bigger turbo with a small AR. And because a lot of times, if you're on a good setup, you could go from a 0.62, 0.63, whatever, let's say terms of T3 to a 0.82, and you might even make power sooner. It will be at less boost because you don't look at PSI versus RPM. Pressure's just resistance to airflow. If your setup works right, it will make more power at half that amount of boost.
What does
and
the
do it sooner.
A/R stand for? Out of curiosity.
Aspect ratio?
I think it is aspect ratio, but it's a
So it's-
turbine size.
yeah,
That's the larger. So when that number
The
is
exhaust
larger,
side.
that's the turbine we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's proportional to the turbo. So a 0.63 on a 58 millimeter turbine is not the same as 0.63 on a 72 millimeter turbine because it's a ratio against the diameter of the wheel.
He's kind of saying almost the opposite of what most people think when they think of turbos. Like, oh, I'm going to get the smaller
I
AR
fully call that a
spool
myth.
faster.
This is an internet myth.
I'm glad you said that because I got the bigger one for mine. So, and I
I've
was a
tried
little
it.
nervous about that.
I just
Try to back to back like cars like say Rich's setup on his FD cars, JZX.
Yeah.
Fantastic cylinder head. That thing makes monster power just from having the head correctly ported. No other real change to the car, just a cylinder head swap. Same turbo, same exhaust manifold. It made the same power at 12 psi less boost.
Whoa.
12.
12 less, almost
What?
a full
That's a
atmosphere
full
less.
bar. What the fuck?
Just cylinder head work?
Just head work, and so you can imagine that turbo is making 10 psi about as fast as not as fast as it used to because it doesn't need as much pressure to make power. But down low where that turbo used to have to make 15 psi to make 500 foot-pounds,
Yeah.
it does it at like 5 psi now.
It's just flowing way better.
It just flows better. And
That is crazy.
That's
No,
set up.
there's a lot of good info here. Just because I never knew. First of all, I never knew what that 0.82, 0.63, point whatever AR meant. Now I at least I feel like I think I do. And also how to size, like, definitely useful information. Daryl, I'm gonna fucking tell you about this. You better fucking listen to this shit. But yeah. Never knew what the fuck that was for.
In a modern turbo, like just the say we use Zonabird as an example. They have the UHF ultra high flow turbine. They kind of combine the idea of a clip turbine. So what they used to do is they'd clip the blades down so there'd be more clearance between the wheel and the housing so that you wouldn't have it would raise your choke limit.
Okay.
But you sacrifice a little bit of spool for that. You get more top end power.
Okay.
The other way that they change that is some turbines have more blades, some have less, and that's the same concept.
Basically, like
just
changing
more resistance
the
to
amount
flow.
of air that it can pull in or something like that.
Yeah, just the amount you get to a point where your back pressure is rising too fast. It's just bottlenecking.
Okay.
And you could have an 11 blade turbine. If you're bottlenecking and your back pressure is getting out of control, you go to 10 blade, same thing. You might lose a little spool, but you're going to gain a lot in the top end. So it's always a trade-off too between like what's going to get you the power band you want. But Zona has this new one. It's a 5-on-5 style. Like you've seen old cast compressors that have 6 full-size blades and 6 small blades in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing that with the turbine. They have 5 full-size blades, and in between those are 5 shorter blades. So you kind of get a hybrid of more turbine blades, but they're also, half of them are clipped a lot. So you have lighter weight, lighter rotating assembly there, and you've increased the choke limit because those blades have a lot of space around them for the air to move. So you kind of get a mix of the two, and they do spool fantastic, and you can make a ton of power. The ones I've tuned so far have like way exceeded what they're rated for. Probably not supposed to yet. Probably voided some warranties there, but they live with it, and they make way more than they say they're going to make.
What about like the new G series turbos? What is there any magic behind?
They're
those
great
things?
too. So the T series, GT, G series, a lot of that, like GT30, GT35.
Yep.
You're talking about the turbine size. That's what Garrett uses to designate the turbine size. So if you're going from a G25 to a G30, that's the different turbine. And then the 660, whatever the horsepower estimated number is, more or less like the different compressors.
Okay.
So, but kind of what I was getting at there is like a GT, all the GTs are that same generation of turbine aero. A G series, that's new turbine aero.
Yeah.
And that hasn't changed in a long time. So we're talking back to, when GTs were factory 240 S14s,
Yeah.
95 or whenever they started the ball bearing T28s. That's a GT 20, 28,
28 or
2060, 28, something like that. It's a GT28 basically.
I don't know.
They're still calling them T28s, but the ball bearing ones are GT turbos. So you think that's how old that turbine technology is. The G series is revamped. Garrett's taken a little bit more of a focus on the performance aftermarket finally. A lot of these companies don't care about that because their bread and butter is the OEMs.
Yeah.
Every new car has a Garrett MGT turbo on it, from BMW to the new Z and Infinities. They're all Garrett turbos.
Wow.
And that's what they're making money off of.
Yeah.
But even those, they have new turbine aero. They're billet compressor wheels in a lot of them. Like like the new Z, those are billet compressor wheels that come from the factory like that.
I heard those turbos are pretty shitty, to be honest with you.
They're little.
The
They're
OEM
really
ones,
little.
at least.
But they're
People
little
that work
Garretts.
at Infinity tell us they're just like, yeah, those things blow all the time. But we're like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
There must be some kind of defect or some shit. But
They'll pull the intake off and be like, "There's oil in here." Turbos.
Yeah, that's too.
That's kind of what a PCV system does.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I question
true,
how
too.
many of them are actually blown, but
So those
They
G
do
series are
put comfort.
pretty wild.
But yeah,
Seems like
they work fantastic too. Like you're gonna get way more out of just upgrading to a newer generation of turbo.
yeah.
But people still like jump through all these hoops and then put an old 2871 on, and it's like, well,
TDO
there was an
6.
easier way.
Yeah.
Forgot it's
Those
not
are
there.
really. I go
What?
back to like the DSM days, the TDO5s and TDO6s.
I have a TDO6 on my car right now.
They are not fast.
It used to
flowing
be
turbos.
right. It used to be right there, and I
And
used
it's
to point to it.
And it's a newer like RX series gritty turbo. I'm like, what did they change? Like, I mean, they haven't been making these.
They added letters.
Yeah, I'm like, they haven't really been making these. I feel like, but I guess they do make them still. But
Got the
it's
I
good
don't know,
old.
crazy.
I feel like it just came off some like Mitsubishi, Fuso, whatever box truck in Japan. They're like,
Yeah,
yes.
they're like, oh, okay, we can use this one.
Got good old CT15B. Yeah, stock 1J turbo. But I did a steel wheel upgrade on mine.
Yeah, that's the important thing because those
Sometimes
things
those
break.
burst.
Yeah.
Yeah, like aside from the fact that it was blown, like there was a lot of play. So I just
Good to have it checked.
I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck, would that be the exhaust? The one on the dirtier one. The exhaust wheel had so many little chunks out of the fins,
Really?
Ugh.
and I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
What
god
the
damn.
fuck?
Well,
I guess they replaced that,
I replaced
the turbine and shaft.
yeah,
right?
the cartridge whole thing in the middle of it.
Oh, you got the
whole
like drift
thing.
motion or something, or
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
like a lot of people run those.
That's what I put on there.
Yeah.
And now it'll hopefully not blow up.
You'll be good now. Miyagi didn't
They
do that,
work
and his shit
alright,
blew
too.
up.
Turbo went.
Yeah, on the way home too from E-Town. Remember Malcolm?
That'll happen.
Yeah. And
Is
then
that
it
why
was-
there's a Tomei one in there?
No, he doesn't have a Tomei one.
Don't get those for the 1J.
He has a. Dude, don't get those for anything.
Really? They're
They are
bad.
bad on 1J VCIs.
Wait, you tell me what you've experienced.
Boost creep, excessively laggy for
Yeah.
how much power they
Yes.
don't make.
Okay, we put one on an RB, and we had the I don't think it was a single. I think it was the twin. It must have been a twin turbo setup that they sold.
Thank God you said that, because for me, I'm like, oh, he's got a Tomei turbo. Like, oh.
For some
I'll
reason,
put that on your 1J.
it
Okay,
seems like
thank
some
you.
people.
Very good.
Some people have okay results. I feel like for the SR one, they seem like they have okay results. But I remember we put that shit on RB. Dude, we were like chasing our tail because we were like, this cannot be this slow. Like something's wrong. But dude, when it hit, it fucking hit hard. But it was like way too late. Like you were like, something's drastically wrong with this engine, but nothing was wrong.
Just dated turbo technology. After hearing Andy's reasoning for the G series, now I'm thinking like, how long have I known what a GT28 is, or like a GT2870, 2871R?
And that
Like
was
fucking everybody, Honda people, 240 people, fucking everyone, 2871R. That's what I knew what a turbo was.
Yeah.
And if you go way back to like when, the early 2000s again, you'd be like the SC61. That'd be like the turbo to make. People were making 500 on it. That was making 500 was not common. That was the number that was tough to get to. Now that's so many stock cars.
What about like the Hulset ones? You're like, oh, take the diesel turbo, fucking slap it on there.
Yeah, that's a.
Josh for a little bit
That's
was
some
like, why
backyard
don't
mechanic
you get the diesel turbo and put the SAFC on there on the GE? And I'm like,
See, I'm all for cobbling nonsense together and seeing how it works, but like, you don't necessarily need to bring it to me to tune it then.
like
I kind of don't want to deal with
imagine,
it.
like,
But it is fun on your own projects to like.
That was how it used to be. I remember. I mean,
dude.
Justin had some weird diesel turbo in his SR.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
really common on DSMs too. Whole sets from a 6BT Cummins, all the Ram trucks. That's what they have. And I have friends that still I've seen know a couple people. I've tuned a car, an RB20 recently that had a whole set on it. Cummins diesel turbo.
The aftermarket's so good now, though. It's kind of like
But that's what all the turbos used to be. It was one thing back in the day, like a GT42. You get those really cheap because they came on Detroit 60s. It's just a commercial diesel engine turbo.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
get
know
them
anything.
everywhere. People were slapping those on Supras like crazy because you get them for a couple $100.
damn. I feel like they just made better noises too. I don't know.
Yeah, but compared to like today's standards, mega laggy, don't make any power.
It's like a Tomei turbo.
But yeah, back
Hope they don't listen to this.
before I was, had the Evo, I was doing laptop stuff. It was all like doing all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Like crush the fuel pressure regulator, make it a little more.
Yes.
Cut little sections of the MAF out to compensate for the fact that you raise the fuel pressure everywhere. Or like
That's crazy.
Notch the cast because they're not adjustable like a Nissan one. So you notch the cast to kind of advance timing everywhere.
Okay.
Anything you could do.
You got to tap in the blow-off valve, the diverter valve.
Crush the blow-off valve.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all those tricks.
I don't know anything that we're talking about right now.
It's just getting around not being able to tune.
Because there was no aftermarket shit. I mean, there.
Or AFC or something,
Oh my
and you can only
God.
do so much, and you're telling the MAF, you're just reducing the amount of load the engine sees to reduce the injector flow. But simultaneously, you're also putting yourself in a higher amount of ignition advance while running more boost and more power, which
Isn't
good way to blow something up. But if you go in, you roll the CAS out, crank everything up with an AFC, so you got bigger injectors, but you've reduced your timing everywhere a lot. You can kind of get away with it.
Those fuel computers are so crazy to me. I wish I don't know.
If you think about it, way fucking easier, dude. Like,
Well, it is
just does
kind of
way less.
yeah, yeah. It is.
just
It is
like,
easier.
It is just band-aiding or it's just a cheat, try to work around. And that's why anymore, even if it's my own car, I'm buying standalone.
Yeah.
At this
I've
point,
done enough screwing
yeah.
around. It's a hassle.
Yeah.
this one's, this goes again off of this. Look at these questions, so structured. This one's from Ricardo. Favorite and least favorite ECU to tune. Do you have a favorite or least favorite?
I've been recommending a lot of
This guy's gonna say Haltech.
Haltech and Link. Haltech and Link are nice. I like
Fuck
using
you,
those.
Frank.
I just had a feeling he likes Haltech more. But you don't have a problem with Link. You like Link is fine.
No reason I said Haltech before Link.
Okay,
They're
so
both
you like
fine.
both of them.
Yeah.
What makes them better than the other? Just from your standpoint, like a tuner's standpoint.
Yeah, definitely from a tuner standpoint, the user interface matters a lot. 'Cause,
Okay.
it's going to make the job way easier.
Like from you looking through
I
it.
I have a layout that's set up for Link, and I can, I have a logging channels and graphs all set up already, and it's just everything you could want to see is there. They have a super fast processor in them. You can log everything as high enough rate to get good data. It just makes life so much easier when you can get all of that data. Link and Haltech both have internal logging storage. So I set up auto logging. Whole time you're driving around, your car's saving logs.
Oh, wow.
Hit me up with a problem. So send me, dump the log file off the ECU and
That's
email it to
crazy.
me, and I can see what it's been doing.
Like a
That's-
doctor.
Yeah, that's so helpful.
Like it's
You
just
are,
doing it
but
automatically.
It's just all you can set it up for anytime you're over 2,000 RPM and more than 25% throttle or
And
whatever you want.
It'll save it for maybe how long
As
does
soon
it?
as you cross those thresholds, it'll start logging until you're back below those thresholds, and then you can set an off timer. So it'll wait 3 seconds after you're off throttle to make sure you're not just doing some sort of
Yeah.
gear change or transient. You're going to get back on throttle, so you don't end up with weird cuts in the middle of
That's pretty
the
helpful.
log. But that's real.
That's pretty
helpful.
You know what doesn't have that?
Yeah. Well.
Like,
Yeah.
that
No.
seems helpful as fuck.
Lower cost. ECU Master Black is a fantastic bang. For
I've
the
heard a
buck.
lot
It
of
does a lot
people-
stuff.
I don't
a lot
know
of Jay-Z
anything
people running
about
ECU
this
Master.
ECU Master, but I mean,
It
Link
comes
and
with a lot
Haltech.
of goodies, and it's cheap.
Yeah.
Chris likes those.
Is
Nap.
the user interface pretty good? Or
It's all right. It's pretty good.
Okay.
The other thing, so the one thing that really separates Link and Haltech from the ECU Masters, if you want to do something
It's
unique,
$1,000.
not even
No?
depends on the model.
Okay.
Like a Link plug and play for S13, they're like $1,400, $1,500.
Yeah, they're not even that crazy.
The ECU Masters 1,100-ish, 11. I think it went up recently, something like
Okay.
that. And then $250 for the patch. So I mean, you're close.
Yeah.
One
At this
benefit,
point, it's you're just picking whichever one you want.
yeah.
The prices
I mean,
are so close.
you could do an ECU Master a little less. I mean, if you're doing a wire in Link like a Storm or something, that's a lot more. That's more.
Yeah.
But it depends. It's not a huge cost difference, but it depends on what you're doing with your card, if it's worthwhile to have it. But the one thing with the Haltech and Links, if I want to do something based on, it's not a table that exists, I can just make a table. You can just set something up generically that does something that's not built into the ECU.
Okay.
And sometimes that really comes in handy. For most stuff, you don't need anything outside of the normal strategies. So that really comes down to what you're trying to do with the car. And that's one thing, maybe a good time to note, if you're not sure what ECU to get, ask whoever you're going to have tune it.
Yeah.
The best ECU is the one that the person you're going to have setting it up wants to use.
Yeah, because they would be the most comfortable with it and knowledgeable on it.
Huh.
And if they say, I'm fine with doing power FCs for if that's what you have, that's all right. But
Yeah.
you're telling me you
It's
want it, you're gonna
okay.
have a fully built, drift car. You're gonna do competitions with it. You need to not run that ECU at all. you need to
I'm
get
thinking
a Link.
800 horsepower.
Yeah, no,
Frankie, you're
you need a
kind of
Link.
I'm on the line.
you're
My
on the
engine's not that
fucking
crazy.
line pretty.
I have a TD06. It's not that serious.
But you
And
have
the
a
thing is, if you were
2.2.
I want to
Yeah, but-
max this turbo out for all it's worth. And run ethanol, and I'm like, all right, maybe
yeah.
get a Haltech
Once you
or a
start
Link.
doing flex fuel and
maybe not the
shit.
power FC for that.
Yeah, Power C probably ain't.
There's
that
other
good.
examples though, you brought up, or Tom. I think it happened to Tom and Josh recently.
Yeah, what are they doing?
Josh's his S14 engine used to be in Tony's S15.
Yes.
Went to some other guy.
Yeah.
Chris Davis or something.
Yeah, Chris Davis, and then
I've
sold
seen
it to Josh, and then that engine was never opened or something, right? It was-
All just untouched. I tuned it 3 times in 3 different cars.
That green one?
yeah, the
And,
green valve cover.
I remember seeing
And
that
eventually-
Craigslist ad, dude.
Fuel pump wiring. Took it out.
And it sucks too because the car was here for an alignment. We saw those wires. I remember I told Chris, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And he's like, "I don't know, probably fucking taillights or some shit because it's right by the taillight harness." And I was like, "We should probably tell Josh." We didn't tell Josh.
But if you had a
He
Link
thought it was taillights too, though.
Haltech ECU Master
It would have threw
with a fuel
fucking-
pressure sensor, you can just set up delta fuel pressure safety. If fuel pressure drops to the point that the ECU is not able to compensate or the fuel's not going to atomize anymore, just cut it out.
Yeah.
Or at least raise a warning. I mean, that's a mixed bag too. A lot of people that are drifting, they don't want a safety to intervene to the point that it could interrupt them when they're running a wall or something. Because
Yeah.
what's the worst case? It's maybe blow the engine up or save the engine but wad the car.
Yeah. It could get sketchy.
It depends, and that's some people are okay. They'd rather have the safety, and I honestly think it's not that bad. It depends on where it intervenes. But
Yeah,
in
it would
most
have to
cases,
be
if
a
you
real
lose
bad
power,
situation.
like you're probably fine. I don't know.
Yeah. It would have to be a real weird situation.
Yeah, especially if you're not like a comp car where you really rely on the forward bite to get you through the turn.
Yeah.
That's different. But you're also probably at a budgetary level where you
Hopefully,
you
yeah.
know,
Don't
fix whatever happens. But a
I-
grassroots car, like you're not you don't have so much forward. You don't have so much grip in that car and so much power that
Yeah.
that's a factor in driving it
I have a
that majorly.
sub question to this. You brought up Link's like next tiers of ECUs. Like, what is the difference between like the one that we got up here, the drop-in one for the S13 or whatever that goes in the regular stock ECU versus like the best one they make? Like, what are some of the like
Features, some of them, so that has specifically the hardware it needs to run that application. Now, if you want one that can do dual closed loop wideband for 2 different banks,
whoa, that's some crazy shit. That's some F33
or
Raptor
have a
shit.
I don't.
built-in O2 sensor control. A lot of those have a lot of those do have a lot of the software features, but you know it comes down to if it can support all of the goodies you got on your setup. Like,
Okay.
there's some stuff that it's not going to do.
Yeah. So interesting.
The next one.
Yes.
Steely Tooth. What's good, Stevie? What's the wildest car you've had on the dyno? He said wildest / fastest / slowest / coolest. I'm just gonna say memorable, I guess. Do you
Yeah,
have a
I think
memorable one?
I think you asked something like this earlier, and we didn't really get to it. So
Yeah, I think we did
weird
bring-
ones. There was like a kit. How do you say it? Cataram? You know, little.
A boat?
No.
Oh, I was
not
like a
catar-
catamaran.
You know, not
How?
a catamaran. Yeah, what are they?
I think
Is
I know.
it- it's a
Oh,
Can-Am.
Can-Am?
No,
Like a
those weird
side by
things?
side
no, this
thing?
little
Like a razor?
No, Roadster.
He's gonna show us, and we're gonna be like,
I don't know what the
fuck is
hell.
this? There's probably some like kit
Like an
car
old
looking-
car? Like a
Yeah, like a
MG? Like a
Cataram
midget?
7. Sort of
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
Caterham.
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 Yeah, however you say it. What are
Yeah.
these?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
kinda
the little
cool.
one. The fat. Yeah,
There's one
little
of those
go-kart
with,
guy.
A Mazda MZR, like a 2.3 liter from the Mazda Speeds. Terrible engine.
Oh,
But
okay.
it had for some reason it was in there. And
Those engines always.
I don't
blow
think
up.
that's what's
Yeah, they
normally
love
in there,
blowing up.
is it?
Yeah.
They put
No.
something else in there that revs high and sounds 4-cylindery, hopefully.
but it was, I forget what turbo it had on it. Upgraded, built engine.
Oh, okay.
I think we stopped at like 300 or 325, and yeah, the owner was like, yeah, driver, let's go for a drive. Like, all right, because I asked him, if he wants to drive it, make sure everything works, because he's having a lot of trouble getting some things sorted out. I found problems with his fuel system. I had to change the fuel line routing to fix a fuel pressure problem that he had. I said, well, go drive around, see if the transients and all that are better, and it feels all right. And we made it like half a mile, and he was like, he's like, do you want to drive it? I can't keep my foot in it. I'm like, I'll drive it.
What the fuck?
It was wild. It was fast.
Dude, the curb weight on that thing is like
probably like
about a
what?
piece of paper and a half.
Like 1,200, 1,400
It's
pounds.
insane.
Oh my
They're not
god.
heavy.
They.
So 300 was enough to like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and you're not attached to anything. You're just, your head's out.
Scary as hell.
That's sick.
Like, and you're not exactly short. Like,
No, yeah, and you're
fucking-
upside down. You're like totally gonna be two
Totally
pieces. Yeah.
totally dead. I remember watching a Top Gear episode with one of those things, and they had to like build it. Like it came.
Yeah.
You could either save
Assemble
money
a
by
kit.
building it, or it came pre-assembled.
Oh, that's cool.
I think. But those cars were, what I knew about them was that they were like fucking go-karts.
It was a lot of fun to drive. That was definitely, especially since I got to go abuse it with the owner. He
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
you
oh.
run it through its paces. All right,
Sick.
if I have to.
It's
Twist
lighting
my
them
arm.
up like.
That was
sick,
fun.
dude.
And then like I love Mark IVs. I
Really?
hate saying it now because it's so like
Mark
Whatever.
IV
it's like
Supra.
stereotypical
I like
now. I love
R34s,
Mark IV
so-
Supras.
Yeah.
Always have. I missed my opportunity to buy one.
Oh,
Had
nah.
plenty of chances when I was younger. It's like we were talking about that earlier. Like if I wasn't tuning all the time, I wouldn't be driving a 23-year-old truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's when I bought the dyno, like the next week, a 96 white, black interior, original turbo, automatic, had a built engine with big boost logic turbo setup on it. If he was selling the car with, stock wheels and CCW drag pack, and I think he wanted like 19 for it or something.
I was about to say a stupid low number like that because we just got done telling.
was
I
like,
told a
"Ooh, if
story.
I didn't just buy this dyno.
2010, 2011, around there. my old neighbor sold his for like $7,000, but it was not. It was an NA. It was repainted.
How much do they go for now?
I don't know.
Like that same car.
That same car. I mean, with it set up right, all running good, making like 700-800, all clean. Probably like 80. Yeah.
80?
It's just because
70, 80.
it's the car
Oh my
itself.
God.
Especially
like,
if I converted it to a V160, the factory 6-speed, and did all that other little stuff. I mean, maybe even more. Because it was a
I did not
a
know
white.
that.
Yeah, it was white too. It's not super common.
Dude,
color.
I remember when these cars were like 40 and that was expensive.
Yep, I had a friend with one in high school. I was like 17, and we just go drive around his Mark IV Supra.
that's sick.
Well, dude,
I got to ride one. You know what I'm saying? Drunk
I've-
off the Four Loco. I was in
I
one.
think I've been in one of those. I mean, my corny favorite car is R34 GTR, and like 2 years ago when I saw those prices, I was like, well, not getting one of those ever.
Man, they are nice. I just tuned a GTT at the shop, and it's a step up from a 33.
Yeah,
I like 33s a lot too.
I like
you know.
33s, but
32s, I don't know. They feel like just the same tin can that an S13 feels
Yes,
like.
thank
It's
you.
just- for the amount of money, I can't justify it.
I do not like R32s. I just call them fat S chassis.
34s are
Pretty nice
distinguished
car.
from the others. They
But
are
I still
nice.
feel like I'm in a Maxima from 2006 when I'm in R34.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
feel
not
like
that
I'm
much better,
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm in a $100,000 car.
right. Yeah, still for the rate for what they're going for,
Yeah.
I would buy an R35 all day.
Which
instead of-
sucks because I really hate those cars. But yeah,
I used to love
Yeah.
them when I was a kid and I saw one for the first time because I was like, oh my God, the GTR is stateside. Like,
I've
I don't know
hated that
anything
thing
about
since it came
Skylines.
out.
They go firmly against what I like in a car,
Yeah.
but just for a nice, fun, fast daily driver.
Yeah,
Maybe it's maybe the age is setting in, but I'm like all-wheel drive, automatic.
yeah.
Just get in and step on the gas and it goes.
The age is setting in.
Yeah, it's the
But
age.
you know what? It,
I feel
I
like you
also
look
don't
cool
like.
too.
I don't like right-hand drive. So that's the one downside for the R34 for me because I fucking
Yeah.
hate driving right-hand drive here because
Yeah,
it's just
it
like
feels
everything's.
weird.
I'm like I can't see behind. I can't go to McDonald's. This
I'm
is a
just
problem.
I'm sorry. I'm totally just thinking about the first time I saw an R35 GTR. Like the fucking, I just totally remember that car was so cool when it came out here. Now that I think about
hated
it, there
that
was
car.
nothing before that.
They were really techy. They were definitely like they look futuristic. When
Yeah.
they first came out.
I
And there
remember when
was
they
this-
came
I guess
out. My
they-
first thought was they're not stick shift. That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
That-
that it was automatic.
That's all I
I didn't
cared
like
about.
it immediately as a kid, and now I'm like, yeah, I could drive around normal.
I've also gotten to drive and tune a variety of cars with dual clutch transmissions, and now I'm like, this is actually pretty sweet.
It's sweet,
Yeah,
isn't
that
it?
was gonna be the
Fuck.
one thing. The first time I drove one of those and I got on the gas and I felt the clutch like engage, I was like, okay, that was kind of cool.
Once it feels like a manual.
Yeah, it
you
feels
don't
like a
have to
manual.
do it, and it shifts so incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Like back to my friend at Road Races, Eric Magnuson, Mainline Motorsports. He has an E46 M3.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go a class up, so he was LS3. But he wanted to use an E9, E90 DCT 7-speed with it.
Oh.
Looked around a little bit, different trans controllers, decided to go with a Max ECU to do both. And it also works with the BMW ABS. I think that was a big factor. I forget if that was.
That was like a thing that had to be.
Yeah, he wants that. I forget how that.
So he's got a
went.
BMW
But anyway,
trans.
It was the 7-speed DCT with a cammed LS3,
What
and he still had the 444 rear gear in it. So 7th gear is 1-to-1, so that's short gearing.
Yeah.
Especially with 400 horsepower and 400 torque. It made even more once the cam was in and all that.
Holy
That's probably
shit.
But-
bananas, dude.
Dude, it would shift so you just stomp the throttle, just bah, 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 every gear, just
Fuck yeah.
straight up to limiter in 7th gear. Like it was so fast.
Now
So
here's
I was like,
something.
this would be kind of fun in a street car.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. It would overheat 20, 30 minutes into a race. So
Oh,
he's
shit.
back to a T56. But that was one of the experiences where I was like, all right, these dual clutch transmissions are pretty rad.
My brother has a fucking Kia Forte.
Okay. Here we
Okay,
go.
it's the first one, and he's the first one out of the siblings to like get a new car because he hurt his back, and he was like, I can't fucking be out of work because I can't work on the car and get to work. So he bought a new car. It's a Kia, but it's a Kia with a dual clutch trans, and like it's somewhat peppy of a car. Weirded me out. I was like, ew, why did you do that? He's like, dude, I just drive around normal now, and if I want to fucking like just flip around for a little bit, the dual clutch trans impressed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And that's just a normal
That's probably-
everyday car.
That's probably
Oh, yeah.
2010
I see tons of
GTR
them.
technology in that fucking thing.
And like
Yeah.
it's like entertaining. Like I'm like, wow, this is like what? Like,
Yeah,
I feel like I'd love to just have that in, just attach some cool sounding engine to it, like
Yeah.
a Jay-Z or something, and have
Ooh yeah.
the paddles and just imagine them in a GT car.
So I
Just-
never, so I never gave a shit about any of that shit. Really, like I knew it was cool, but like it's still not enough. Then I saw, wasn't it Dai Yoshihara's car or something? Did you see that on YouTube? Check this out on YouTube. It's I think he had Gretty build him like an R33, but they have some kind of crazy fucking
be a sequential in it.
yeah, dude.
So that's another, add that to the
It's got-
answer to the question. Cars that have really cool transmissions, like sequentials, especially if I can put a strain gauge on it and let the ECU do an ignition cut. So like a dog engagement transmission will go into any gear at any
It was
time.
that with an air shifter in this car.
Yeah, that's
Dude.
I don't know
Bro, I don't watch car videos. I saw that. I was like, I need to watch this. You watching him drive that shit and just
Yeah.
you hear the RB and then he's just fucking boom, boom.
That
What-
might be another way to phrase this question is like cars that ruin you forever. Like you get into a car with a sequential gearbox. Like you can, I posted a video a while ago. It's an H pattern G-force in Tony's car. But like, as for an example of a dog, that's an H pattern, but for a dog engagement transmission, the second it unloads, you can pull to the next gear. You don't have to lift off throttle or anything. I'd hit it in first gear and pull back. As soon as it touches rev limit, boom, second gear, push forward, and just hold it floored the whole time. Third, fourth.
Actual stick.
Yeah,
or-
it's a G-force,
What the
4-speed,
fuck?
like what's in every drift car.
Yeah.
A lot of NASCAR back being on.
So
they
yeah,
switched to 6
I don't
speeds
know
now.
what trans they had in this car, but they did have the option to use.
they
I
have.
don't
One
think it was an H pattern. I think it was a regular.
if it's air shifted, it can auto.
Dude, it was
Shit.
just a cool setup. I was like, I would fucking drive. a car like
Kanguchi's
that.
got that
Sequential, though,
Samson is shit
Like
in there.
an,
Maybe that's no, it was Dai.
Kanguchi has the older. Dai has a crazy one too.
Yeah.
But I know which one you're talking about. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is,
Dude,
but
you
Matt-
gotta watch those videos. That shit was crazy.
Matt Predmore had first a Samsona and then an HGK. The Samsonas, you can read online. He ended up with an HGK, 2J,
Heard of that?
2J VVTi, GTX 40 or something. 600-700 on ethanol drift car, and just year after year, I was like, I need this transmission.
dude, the drive line
immediately.
noise when it's like
Oh, yeah, and you get
intentional.
the-
Yeah, when it's
dude.
intentional noise, it's
Oh, it's so
sick.
awesome.
I say
Okay.
intentional because my trans made that noise for a little while, and it was because I was
just like,
I
this
set
is-
the clutch up wrong, and it was just. I'm like, yo, yeah, this
Damn.
is broken.
I mean, I guess that's kind of cool because maybe it's something is cooler with paddle shifting and air shifting. Because I always just think clutch is like
I mean, you can
it's
even
too cool.
you can have a DCT and throw a clutch pedal in with an electronic switch, and it'll disengage.
yeah.
So you can treat it.
Like a clutch kick. You
yeah,
could
there's
do
a couple
that.
people doing that now.
yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
Who
those
was
BMW
it?
transmissions are fucking sick too.
Yeah.
The ones you're talking about. Yeah,
Then they're cheap. They're actually you can do that for
Isn't that
a reasonable price.
a ZF still?
I don't know what trans is, but I'm just thinking of like the newer, like a
No. The newer
The
I
new
heard
new-
is not actually a
It's
dual
8
clutch.
HP. Yeah,
It's
that's more like a
something-
conventional auto. That's the the ZF 8 HP. It's in everything. That's what's in like the new Supra and the newer BMWs. It shifts ultra fast. A couple companies have figured out how to control it. So there's more options coming to the aftermarket. For that,
harnessing
but-
the energy. That's
yeah, and that's
crazy.
why like a Supra will make with a tune downpipe intake, like 400 horse and 450 to 500 torque. Something like that. Depends on how aggressive you get. with it.
casually.
Just a little over 400, right up towards 500 torque. They are so fast just because of the transmission. They have really good aerodynamics. They're real slippery, but that transmission makes anything feel way faster than it is.
so interesting. Wow.
But
Yeah, no, people are
they're
using
super
those, and
strong,
I've been
too.
seeing them a lot more. I just realized Rich asked a bunch of questions here. Let's see what Rich is up
Oh
to.
my.
I heard Rich
You can skip.
has an awesome lawnmower.
I
What's
heard
up,
Rich was supposed to come on this podcast. When are you coming on, Rich?
I've noticed that when you bully people,
They don't come.
they don't come. So maybe stop doing that. Rich, please come on the podcast.
Rich, I'm just gonna keep bullying you.
Uh, other than drinking and driving, what are your other hobbies? That's terrible.
That's really about it.
You ever see those
No, I had
videos
to-
on
I had to
Instagram
put-
now where it's like fucking,
Oh,
how do
yeah,
I
it's like
make
a meme
driving
now.
more fun? And it's like,
Beer.
Yeah.
I think I sent him that one earlier today.
I was gonna say your meme game is pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah, sometimes I think like my account is slowly trending more towards a business account,
but also
but
treading
I still
towards a
love
meme
to
account.
share
Yeah.
nonsense in my story. And it
Yeah,
gets good engagements. I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep doing it.
dude, you I don't know where you get your memes from, but they're like deep cut memes that you don't see. Like they're not
So-
general pop memes.
Some stuff I used to go to Reddit a lot for some, but I think I've trained my Instagram algorithm to the point where I get insanity on it.
are you getting
Yeah.
Cartelgram?
Cartelgram?
What is that? No, it
Dude.
sounds
Oh,
like
you
I
mean
need
like
it,
where you
though.
just seen people get killed all day?
No. Cartelgram is like, I don't fucking know. Diego keeps sending it, and now it's all over my timeline. Like, it's a fucking video of like drone missiles
I
getting
don't-
made. Why the fuck do I need this on my timeline? And all the comments
That
are
sounds
like,
like the American military industrial complex.
and then
brand.
then the comments, why am I getting this on my timeline? Like,
Yeah.
there's other people concerned, and or it's like,
Cartelgram.
or it's like pill pressing. Like, why am I seeing this?
Okay, that makes more sense for Cartelgram.
I guess, or
Yeah.
like Cessna videos.
Yeah.
All the ingredients.
Andy
Yeah.
just got memegram, but like, they're-
What what
Or you
kind
get
of
on,
memes
or
are
you
we
get on
talking?
Reddit. You know, that's where they start. If
I
you go
wish-
on Reddit, you see all the memes that are on the meme pages on Instagram, like just 2
Yeah.
days sooner.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, but now I feel like it's rotating around because my friend Dan loves Reddit, and he'll send me shit, and I'm like, dude, I saw it yesterday on Instagram. Come on, bro, get with the
Hey.
times. It
He's-
like I
he's
feel like it's
just sorting
slowly.
wrong. He's sorting by top.
Okay.
You gotta go new. You gotta check.
I wish I could remember
those
one of the memes he had, but dude, they're good. Like you just follow him because of the memes, at least. Yeah. 'Cause
Favorite. Wait, are we gonna call that answer or that question answer?
I would say, yeah. I mean, he loves transmissions. That's what. Oh wait, what was the other question?
What are other hobbies
Oh.
aside from drinking and driving? There was
I
nothing
just
about
have-
transmissions.
I don't have much time other than if I'm not working my day job or tuning, I
Sleeping.
try to put my cars together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like my drift car is still not wired up, so I need to spend some time doing that. It's just cold. you
It's
know?
cold as shit,
Fucking
dude. You don't
cold.
even got it. You don't got to fucking tell me
I
twice.
even have a heater, and I'm like, yeah, we have to get cold before it warms up. That's, I don't know about all that.
That's Carl's struggle right now.
I hate that shit. Next follow-up question from Rich: how much do you love SR20s? I guess like a 1 to 10 scale. Is it like a 12? No, I'm
So I'm gonna
just
say
kidding.
Or
I
a
saw
two.
this on, I thought I might actually get asked something like this today, like favorite engine or something. But
Yeah.
I mean, the best engine is the one that fits your goals. Well, most importantly, being inside of your budget. Like,
Mm.
I see too many like SRs. I had SR swapped S chassis, but I'd spend like $2,000 on putting an SR and an S14.
Now you can't.
I had an S14, like COS 2A, Apexi, coils, exhaust, intercooler intake, S15 SR, HKS clutch. All said and done, I was $4,400 in that car.
That's crazy.
You know, because I bought one.
Not
I
anymore.
I traded for an automatic KA base model, but it was clean, no rust, no accidents, super clean. And then I bought a rusted out car that had all the aftermarket parts on it, and I mean falling apart, not
Combined
road
the
legal.
two?
And yeah, I put side by side in the garage, and I swapped everything cool from the one, with everything stock from the other. Sold the one automatic KA falling apart from rust. Well, actually, I traded it for an Audi A4, but then I should have just kept that car. I sold it.
That sounds like a come up.
Under
I've had
$5,000 for a S15 SR swap 240.
I'm sure that thing would have been just fine still today if I just kept it. But
Nowadays,
Today?
that's 15 grand, 20 grand.
why would I ever spend that? Like,
Yeah.
so I said my
for an SR.
my VQ ended up in Kyle Supko's S14.
Mhm.
Initially, he was looking at the turbo and the KA.
Uh-huh.
He priced it out. You can get the 5K pretty quick.
Yeah.
Unless you're buying used stuff and throwing something together, which he didn't want to throw something together. He'd have to constantly be replacing stuff or, dealing with stuff that didn't work. But so looking at like new parts, as cheaper new parts, nothing too fancy, like BorgWarner turbo, cast manifold, nothing exotic, Mega Squirt ECU. But I ended up since I was taking the VQ and CD out of my car, I'm like, well, look at it this way. You get 250 wheel horsepower, 250 wheel torque, and the better transmission. And I sold it to him for less. It's about the going rate, a little cheap. But for what he sold his KA and trans for, you can buy a DE with CD all day. And then he bought mounts at ISR makes, headers at ISR makes. All said and done is $2,500, 250 horsepower. It's at least 100 more than the KA made.
But it sounds
Probably.
like a VQ.
It does sound like the devil's trumpet. You know? It's not great. But have you heard an SR with ISR blast pipes?
Yeah.
That is,
yeah.
I will just say it. That is worse.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not worse.
Horrible.
It is not worse. But
Except for when it's like
not
doing
good.
this,
Well,
like
you could make a VQ worse,
type
but
of shit. You know what I mean?
don't need to have that raspy, terrible exhaust.
Yeah.
You can pick something that's not
Much
heinous.
better, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to go out that far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know when they like, make it like this far.
Oh, yeah.
the ankle killer. What is it? The ankle fucking. We had a name for that back then.
For me, I'm just like,
We were just walking to that in the pits. Just,
what if you had to like wall drag or what if you wanted to like wall drag something?
Oh yeah, the exhaust is coming off.
Somebody had that at E-Town. Like, it got hung up in someone's front wheel. It was following them, and then it was pointing out directly left of the left rear
I mean,
tire.
I remember Justin's only stuck out like this much from his bumper, and that shit hit the wall and fucking came off and just dragging the whole way. Like, it doesn't take much. Blast pipes look cool though. I will say that.
But I will
To an
also
extent.
say,
Yeah.
back on the SR thing,
Mhm.
a VE head on one of those it fixes basically everything I don't like about that engine.
Okay.
The problem is rockers.
Yeah.
The DET heads are just knock prone.
Yeah.
A ported VE head, it might as well be a K20. Like it,
Why do you say they're knock prone?
they
Is it
love to
the-
detonate. It's
The
just-
squish pads and all that bullshit up there?
Yeah, I think the quench areas. You see a lot of the ported heads have those all smoothed out. But how many ESRs have you taken apart that look all like dinged up pie panned inside? You know, the
Yeah.
head gasket won't even seal anymore because the fire rings, the deck of the block all pounded out and from detonation.
Yeah, I know the deck of the block is pretty suspect around where it combusts, I guess.
It always looks like the metal's just eroding away. But
Yeah.
it's just that's from ping, knock, det, whatever.
Yeah.
Most of the time. But VE heads, not that sensitive.
I know it's a pretty cool mod, but it's especially nowadays. So
But again, that doesn't help the price.
yeah.
You're still spending way more money than you'd have to with plenty of other options out there.
So your answer is really whatever is the right answer for
Yeah.
the right engine for that. Yeah.
SR is not my favorite engine, but
Yeah.
I would be, depending on what car I had, I would have a different answer.
Wait,
for
you got to
what I
say
would like
1 to
have.
10 though. Where's the SR stand?
It's lightweight. I mean, it makes good power. It's pretty easy, and it lives if you treat it right.
You're in an SR shop right now.
I'll put it pretty high up. I would give it like a 6 or a 7.
Okay, well, you heard it 7.
7,
All right.
yeah. I don't.
Seven
Also,
is a-
disclaimer. I'm not a big fan of 4-cylinders. No, that's why I had Evo.
Yeah, yeah.
DS7's 2-liter turbo was.
You're a
the
6-cylinder
move.
guy.
But that
But I'm less into V6, V8, inline 6, V10. I would love
Yeah.
to see more of those.
the Evo 4-cylinder sound though is just not like the same. You know what I mean?
They definitely.
It has
sound-
this like crazier sound to me because of the gearing, and it just hits like so much differently. It's just
Evo. Everyone always wants that Evo sound.
They're pretty rad. You just put an upgraded turbo on them, run like 26 or 27 pounds of boost on pump gas. and they're fine.
Yeah.
You just make 500 on pump.
Yep.
If you could do it with an SR, so that's the other thing. I started with that, and then I was like, these things blow up for nothing. Like that sucks.
Yeah, you're right. It does suck.
If you could crank them up like that and abuse them like a 4G, I'd have a total different rating.
Sorry, Carl. Real quick, CA18. What are your opinions?
It's like you take the worst aspects of the RB and the SR and put them all in one. And then give it less displacement than it deserves.
Yeah.
it's so tiny on the stand.
If that was a 2.0, what would you think of it?
Oh, man, I don't know.
The head sucks, I guess, right? Is that what it is?
RB heads aren't bad,
Okay.
and that's basically what that is.
Yeah.
But
The whole thing is an RB when I...
yeah,
Yeah.
they cut the two. Everything about the casting looks the same. Too.
I wonder if they're strong. I don't know if they're actually like
I just
strong
thought it
engines.
looked
I
so
don't know if
cute
we'd
on
ever
the
have
stand.
a way to find out. I
Yeah.
don't know if it would ever make enough power to hurt itself. They're okay. I mean, the car came in. You know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like a Sil 80. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be something. Or 180SX, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Something about the CA it keeps me interested in it, but I don't know.
I kind of yeah, I like things that just work, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm more of like a function over form type, but there's definitely something to, you know, something nostalgic about
Yeah.
the era correct stuff, you know? Especially if you're more street car, like, it'd be
Yeah,
cool to have
exactly.
a cool car that's what it should be.
Yeah, you don't need an air shifter on it or anything.
Yeah.
This one's from Sean. Ask Andy about his camper trailer rig and why it's the best. Do you have one of these things too?
I just have so I got when I decided I was going to be drifting again, it's like I can't do sleeping in the truck cab like I used to, or
Okay.
sleeping in the race car.
Uh-huh.
And I have 2 dogs, so it's more for the dogs, you know, they got to have somewhere to hang out and not
Yeah,
be in
yeah.
the heat. So I got a slide in truck bed camper.
Like the
And-
one where it like is the shape of it.
Yeah, just like you just back under it with
And
your
then
truck,
drop it down?
and it's on
wow.
jacks. Yeah, I don't know why more people don't do it.
I would
With the dually has plenty of capacity and it's just regular form. I got it took me a little while. I got kind of lucky. I was looking for a very specific model that has a generator and a bathroom, so it has a shower and everything in it, and cannot say enough about getting done, pulling into your pit, and just hop into the camper and take a shower.
That's crazy.
Fucking great. I mean, even if I'm parked right next to the showers at Club Loose or whatever, it's still better.
Yeah.
I just walk
Dude, I
around.
mean, somebody took a full-blown shit in there this past year,
right?
dude.
You don't have to worry about
Fucking
landmines.
huge.
Landmines.
No, take a shower, walk around naked in my camper, grab a cold beer out of the fridge, hang out in there.
All right, note to self, don't be looking in those
Yeah,
windows.
knock
Yeah, I
on
don't have enough-
Andy's
I don't have
trailer
curtains on all
before
the
you
windows
fucking go
either,
in
so
there.
look through the windows at your own risk.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's cool, though.
And then AC, even between sessions on a hot summer day, get in there and it's 60-something degrees. Unreal.
Fuck.
I feel like
And it
Carl's
was,
gonna
you
do
know, you can
something
get
like
those-
I know.
$4,000 to $6,000, you get something like that.
Easily.
But that's the goal. I now I have a utility body. I traded my stock dually bed for a utility body. I need to cut it down and modify it a bit so the
Yeah,
camper
I
will fit
see.
into it right.
That's
So-
what's
But
on your truck right
also
now, right?
utilize
Yeah.
you're trying to keep the use of some of it.
So I'm just adding storage space so I can carry like extra fuel for my generator, fans for the dyno. So when I can, ideally I'll be able to go somewhere like up here, or if I can tune at E-Town again and just show up with the dyno, sleep in the camper there.
Yeah, that would be a sick setup.
I'm slowly turning into a carny.
Yeah,
That's what I realized.
Nah. You're an overlander, but tuning edition.
Yeah, I'm just like a horsepower carny.
That's sick. Honestly, fucking awesome. Good for you, dude. It
Dyno
sounds-
Nomad.
If I
I-
could work full remote at my day job, I would try to buy a bigger camper. And yeah, I go to
You're
Florida
gone.
this time of year.
Easy.
Yeah.
Just keep tuning all year.
Easy.
It's the cars, follow wherever the season's on.
You think you'll end up doing that, or you think that's still just a...
Man, I'm always back and forth between those two ideas. Like,
Yeah.
I did the full-time work at Freedom and Tune for 2 years. Try it out, get away from the corporate thing. It's just like, this soul-sucking corporate job.
Yeah.
Then when I'm not there, it doesn't take long, and I'm like, it's really nice to just
Have
have
money.
benefits and chill. And working
Yeah.
on cars is a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you
I'm
for
always
that.
back and forth,
I
like-
have a desk job.
And now I'm back in my desk job all the time. Like, maybe I could just tune full time.
Dude,
But
honestly,
I don't think I get away from doing. I don't know if I can get away from doing both.
your
But
little solution earlier where it was like remote full time
Yeah, that would be...
with your mobile dyno.
I'm 3 days in office right now. For a long time, I was full remote, but my work's pretty flexible. I feel like if I was like, it's winter, I'm going to Florida, for a month, I think they'd work with me. I don't know.
That's
Cross
wild.
that bridge when we get there.
Dude, that's pretty good. So you might... Yeah.
I might just do both. I don't
Damn,
know.
if you could do full remote...
Yo, dude,
that would be,
I
that
think
would
you
be
could.
it.
We could talk about that after.
Yeah.
We don't want. I don't like. I don't like putting that too much in the airwaves. But I did want to. This is the 4th time I think that this person has asked this question.
Oh,
I think
yeah?
and it's unfortunately not for the guest, but Nona B2K. How did Frankie and Carl meet? This time it's in all caps. So I'm assuming it's the urgency. I was buying head studs. I met Frankie. I also saw Frankie on the highway once when he was driving his S13. And other than that, I just met you through Chris. That's it.
Yeah, I remember... When I think about you and Chris. You guys are always together
we were
in
just
my mind.
Chris brought me here. I was scared shitless. There was that black leather couch that was out there. Everyone was sitting there. Yes, it was,
No, it
bro.
Was this a
wasn't.
casting couch?
It
It
was
was.
not a black leather.
wasn't even
casting
black.
It
couch.
was just a room
wasn't
like
black.
this.
What color was
only
it?
a black
was
leather
beige.
couch.
It was beige. We found it on the street somewhere and just threw it in here.
Regardless, Miyagi and them were sitting there. Everybody was wearing black. Everybody was like kind of hanging out.
Yeah,
Everybody was way more happier back then. Not gonna
Really?
lie. Like, yeah, like you guys were chilling. Like it was
That's
cool.
because it wasn't a business.
It was cool to be in here. Like I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like
Was this back in like 2016? I
Yeah.
feel like
Has
that's
to
when
be.
Happy Memories came
Little
from.
bit
yeah,
before that,
16,
maybe.
17.
Like everything sucks now.
15,
2016.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was definitely it.
like
for sure.
Betty Wap, Trap Queen just came out.
17.
Oh yeah, dude.
16 or 17 is when we got this spot, so it was definitely around then. But
16,
Those
I
were-
think.
Those were the good times.
I was buying
Yeah.
head studs from Frankie, and I thought that it was kind of cool, maybe that there was like a place for me to buy head studs.
yeah, I
And
think that's
Chris
cool
had
too.
to transact because I was
Yeah,
nervous
that's a-
as fuck.
That's all. There's something to a brick and mortar. It's
Yeah.
nice to-
I've always been into that, but as the years went on through me having my own business, I was like, this seems like it's more and more impossible to have a fucking speed shop or
Yeah, I
something.
don't know if
like
you can
that.
make any money at it, but it is.
Yeah,
Even when I first got in, that wasn't an option. I never, it's always buy stuff online. Now it's easy to buy stuff online. So that's
Yeah.
Way
nice,
too
but
easy too.
Be kind of
Like,
cool to go just look
Na-
at things like it's a mall for
Exactly.
auto parts.
that's
Auto
kind of
mall.
what we're going for at this point. It's
Speaking of which, have you ever seen or heard of the Morgantown Auto Mall?
the what?
no,
It's old. It used to be called like Mom's Mall. It was an actual shopping mall, and something with like Mannheim auction was going to buy it. So the landlord asked the businesses to move out. Deal fell through. Now he's got an empty mall. So now you can store or sell your cars on consignment in the mall, and all the stores are just full of all kinds of classic. You name it, every car.
where is this? PA?
Morgantown.
Where the fuck is that?
Morgantown, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Like, if you're headed to Freedom,
Yeah,
like another exit off the turnpike.
and people just
further
bring their
west.
cars there and they just leave them inside.
Dude, you can if you just want to store your car, not in the front display areas, just somewhere in the back, you
Yeah.
know,
Mall.
wings of the mall.
Yeah.
Inside, climate controlled. It's like $130 a month, $140
That's a
a
good
month.
deal.
Mega cheap for climate controlled storage.
Yeah.
So there's and then there's stuff stored outside too, just wild stuff, like boats,
the
trucks.
fuck? I've never
all
heard of
kinds
this.
of weirdness.
I'm
Every
surprised.
local like weirdo car guy that's been collecting stuff forever, like has something stored there. So
There's
it's like-
places like that here. Like I don't want to say where it is, but
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
you know where I'm talking about.
But this place Saturday, Sunday, open to the public. Go there like 8 to 1 at 1 p.m. or 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. on a weekend, and you can just go browse.
That's a YouTube video right there.
Oh yeah, it'd
should
be
go.
great for that. Tell me
Yeah.
know when you're going.
Dude,
Yeah.
let's go.
The casino across the street. We can,
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Just make a whole day out of it.
No. Because we've been playing blackjack at night, like in the faction court. It's
Oh.
crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I do want to take a second to say thank you for coming by. Because
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. Thanks for
That-
I
having
Yeah.
did want to say that you came from a few hours away,
Yeah.
and it
Two.
is cold, and
And
the
you
whole
wanted
no,
heat.
the no heat on the feet thing,
Yeah.
and the wiper whoop, whoop thing. Like fuck.
And thank you for blessing us with some serious knowledge.
I got
today.
us. I swear to you, this is probably one of the most knowledgeable.
Yes.
Now when I
podcast.
look at turbos, specifically,
Yeah.
like I've asked that question time and time again. I'm like, what the fuck do the numbers mean?
And everyone's like, I don't know.
Bro, just get bigger ones. Like
Yeah.
just get the
Just the big
Get-
You want
get
it to
the
spool
larger-
fast, you
biggest
get the
number
small
can
one.
find.
yeah. Like
But
never.
if you ever want, because I also, have a lot of different setups. I could show you dynographs of
Oh yeah.
something that might be like what you're looking for.
Huh? Because you've just seen.
You dyno
know.
a lot of shit probably. How many cars you dyno
I'd like
before?
to.
Yeah. How was
Oh,
it?
so-
Roughly how many you think?
My hard drive died last year, so I lost a bunch of files
How
that
many?
I didn't have backed up. Like my entire history of tuning, because I thought I had it backed up, but that got. I tried to download that whole file off of cloud drive, and it didn't work. It was corrupt too. So I was like, well, that's all of it.
I'm
so
sentimental. I would feel so sad.
now I have a
Right.
now I'm like a OneDrive Microsoft. Everything automatically is updating like the way it was supposed to be to the other drive. Just hoping Microsoft OneDrive is more reliable. We'll see.
But
But
Microsoft doesn't randomly get taken over and then you lose everything.
yeah, just some sort of cyber attack.
Skynet.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
from
probably bigger problems than my
place you
tuning
work at.
files, but
Would you say it's like 1,000?
well,
way more.
Way more.
a year. So this year,
More than 1,000.
this year, and only so I got my dyno back because I had the trailer made over this last winter. I got it back mid-June. between June and end of October, I think I tuned like 40 cars, just working Saturdays and Sundays.
And that's like
not every weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say not like fully.
No, that's outside of my regular full-time job.
So tuning spots get filled up that quickly, like
Yeah, I have like 7 or 8
months out
waiting right now.
Oh, okay.
No,
Wow.
but I can, max I'll do like 3 a day on a weekend, and if something doesn't go right, like you might not get done, and we're gonna have to loop back around later on the schedule or something. But yeah, so that's you figure easy cars 5 runs, difficult car might be like maybe 20 runs, multiply by 40. That's like 500. That's like 500 runs this year.
Faction car
Half
with
of-
Power FC.
Yeah, half of
40
this summer.
runs.
Oh, I don't know.
Dude, it sounds like-
Wagner's was fast. That was
No,
Sounds
that
like
was
Andy
good.
knows what he's
dude,
doing
when
with
you guys,
those.
You
Yeah.
guys had like there was like 4 Power FCs there, SRs that day. And it
Yeah.
was just like I was running the same tune like through every car, just do like a few runs, tweak it for that
Yeah.
specific car.
Yeah,
And
Wags was the last car in the dyno, and that shit was good to go. Like,
you guys were
right
all
away.
like everyone's like GT28s, SRs,
Yeah.
like Power, all similar cars. Really easy to crank those out.
We had some weird problems with. Fuck, whose car was that? I guess that was Wags' car, AJ's car. Remember? Yo, what was that car we had here with? I think it was It was Wags' car with the TPS. What the fuck was that problem? Do you remember? No. Dude, I don't know if I ever told you, but
I remember that. Yeah, the
yeah, what the
TPS wasn't right.
something with the TPS.
They're flaky sometimes. We got that R34 GTT. It had a weird fault on the link for the TPS voltage dropping to the minimum and going to the maximum.
I think this was on our.
Wow, something got goofy there.
This was our bad, but also because I know Chris kept checking the TPS at the
Yeah,
sensor.
if you rotate it, it has to be in the right window.
But you can't check it at the sensor. You have to check it on the computer.
It needs to be plugged in.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the reading you're getting on the computer was way different than the reading we were getting on the sensor.
Depends on. You have to be on the sensor ground, and yeah, it
was weird.
It can be different, a little different.
Yeah, so we changed it and matched it to the
Definitely
sensor.
easy to just if you have the commander. Go
Yeah.
to sensors, see what your whatever they call it in there.
Yeah, that's kind of what we looked at, and I was like,
PM,
this doesn't seem like
PO.
it's going to the right thing. And then we changed that. I drove it down the street, and it was like a totally different car. And I was like, bro, it was just this fucking sensor this whole time. All we had to do was just. Those are those problems where you're like chasing your tail for everything. We were checking the fuel system, like
Yeah, dude, and that's I see a lot of that. You start to get, especially with doing the tuning, getting so used to like EFI systems, the combination of stuff. I'm like, oh, it doesn't seem to be hitting the idle strategy right. Like the Excel fuel seems wrong. Like the TPS sensor moves.
Yeah.
There'd be things that like
you get
you
used to
see.
it.
I just recognize symptoms that have something in common
Yeah.
because it's the thing that I look at all the time.
I
So-
hate having you fix anything because when I bring a car to a dyno, like or what I assume a tuner wants when the car gets brought to a dyno is they want everything to just be ready to go. Give you the car,
Yeah.
you do it, and it's done. So we try our hardest to bring the cars to you like that, but then
There's always something.
yeah,
Just don't be the guy that like drops it off hits me up, says I have a customer that needs a tune, drops the car off beginning of the day when I have other stuff on the schedule before that car, which they knew about, and left it in front of the dyno trailer with no battery in it, having never started up before. And the kid's just there. He got dropped off with his car. Like, I hope I can drive it home. I have no way home. I live 2 hours away. And it's a
so
Skyline,
insane.
so it has the the Japanese little terminal. So I have
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
cut the battery cables. But as long as you're not
Dude,
that
I
unprepared.
try to literally be.
that sounds horrible.
No, the-
like
You
there's
probably
people
deal with
that
that shit all the time too.
common
Yeah.
sense type of shit. Like
I don't like to be one of those that make those posts too. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
wanna
you
sound
never do.
bitchy, but
You're
like,
you're an extremely pleasurable person to deal with.
I try to be
trust me.
laid back because I feel like on the flip side, I hear a lot from other people. They're like, it's so nice to go to a tuner that's not like mad at the
dick.
world.
Yeah, it does happen.
Like, yeah, I try to stay pretty laid back and just like.
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, like if your car is, I'm like, I can do all this, but I'm gonna charge you this an hour,
yeah,
and I don't have time for it right now, so it's gonna sit here for a month, and
yeah.
that's all I can do. I
It's-
don't do it, every
what-
day. It's
What I was gonna say is I hate having you deal with anything, but then at the same time, I'm also like, if Andy saw this problem right now, he'd probably know the answer to it in fucking 10 seconds.
and then you
Yeah,
feel like an
people-
idiot.
people
Yeah.
do message
Yep.
me a lot, and I've been thinking about. I need to like collect an FAQ questions I get a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe do some
good idea.
tutorials or just even write. I don't like to watch videos. I don't look
Yeah.
at DIY videos. I like to have Maybe have a website with just
Yeah, if you had a
write-ups.
website with a FAQ, like,
Here's like a quick write up.
or what to do before your dyno.
Yeah,
that kind of
FAQ
shit.
section. Yeah, I definitely need the pre-dyno.
Yeah.
Freedom, we have that at Freedom. We have pre-dyno checklist.
Yeah, they probably do an inspection too.
I don't do a
right?
great job of sending that out. But
Okay.
I should do better at that.
Yeah.
I also don't do a good job of getting my waiver signed either. But that's probably a little more important.
I was
Yeah.
like, maybe step 1, 2.
Yeah. I mean, what's it? The waiver's probably just like, if I blow this up, it's on you.
Yeah, if anything, if your car blows up on my dyno, you owe me to clean the dyno off.
That's great.
It's not me.
I like that waiver.
Because, like, obviously, if that happens, I'm reasonable, but gotta protect yourself against those people that aren't reasonable, and
Yeah.
I don't know who's showing up, So
Yeah,
just
man.
try to reduce liability where possible, because
Yeah.
that's all it would take. Like, I'm not making any money at this. Like, I paid $40K for the trailer.
Yeah.
I did not make $40K this year. I spent every weekend tuning, and it cost me money to do it.
Yeah. Like, you're gonna be
On the
paying
other
that off
hand,
for a bit.
I could just sell it and have a cool car and not drive around a truck with wipers stuck on with no heat.
But
You know?
it'll
But
have a
it's-
shower attached to it eventually.
It does. Sometimes
Yeah.
it has a shower.
I try
Yeah.
to tell people that too. It's like, we're not really making money here. I'm not making money, but I mean, I'm hiring my friends, and everyone's making a living, and we're okay, and we're doing
And
fun
it's
shit every day.
fun. Yeah, it's
so
fun, laid back.
Yeah.
Stuff you like to do.
so
People get the wrong impression that, I'm sure you've seen it. They have a bill racked up for like $15K,
yeah.
and it's $10K in parts.
Yeah.
You're like, you bought these parts. Like,
Yeah.
and shops don't make a lot of money on parts. A lot.
Nope.
If you're lucky, you get a little margin, as you should.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, you're trying to match online pricing and stuff,
Which-
and people don't understand. There's some value in the expertise of picking the right stuff too.
Yeah. I tell everyone, if
But,
you're talking
yeah.
aftermarket parts, you're not making more than 30% ever, and you're
No
probably
way,
making 20% or less.
Your best bet for most suppliers, you might have 30% under retail, which
Yeah.
you're probably going to have to
Which,
sell
yeah,
at
you're-
map.
Exactly.
And if you buy enough volume, you might hit 30% on a margin that
Yeah, you have to have
a
like,
price you're never going to sell it at.
and then they'll be like, oh yeah, just spend $20,000 with us, and we'll give you 30% off. And we're like, but
Yeah.
what? You sell exhaust, like, or something like,
Yeah, stuff you're not going to buy in volume.
yeah. So it's like, and then then we just sit here and think like, oh, should we do that just so we could say we're, so and so dealer? And it's like,
Sometimes I think we just get into like Porsches.
yeah,
You know,
that's where
sell
our
like-
buddy Ethan's at right now. He
sell
just
like-
wants to sell everything, get a Porsche.
Sell like 3
Yeah.
Apropovic exhausts for like $10K each.
Yeah, no, you're
boom,
right.
No problem. Big
Yeah.
markup.
But then at the same time, the
Seriously, like
Yeah.
definitely more money involved, but the markup's still probably fucking terrible.
It's not
So,
bad, but you have a whole different level of,
clientele too.
it's got to be
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely way better for sure. But hey, man, drifting's getting bigger, so let's just keep going and see how this works out.
Yeah, that's why I figure if people have 100K for a Mark IV Supra.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
they could maybe
Yeah.
pay you a little bit
Or
more for
100K
your time.
for a GTR. I mean,
Yeah.
they could probably afford to do some nice work to it.
It's definitely a decent time to be doing this stuff. It's not the best time, maybe. I don't know. I feel like early 2000s might have been a better time. I don't know. I didn't live it.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like everybody that was in it was the same age as us back then.
Yeah.
I didn't have any money, even though I liked all this stuff. So
Yeah. And
wasn't-
everything
I
was
wasn't
cheap
buying
as
anything.
fuck, too. So maybe it wasn't good.
I think we were all just figuring out how to do it ourselves because we couldn't afford to go to any shops.
Yeah.
And no shops were doing it.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the clientele couldn't. afford
Exactly.
anything.
So it probably wasn't even that good. Now is probably the best time right
I'm
now.
glad I'm
Yeah.
still living
Hopefully it
that
just
life.
keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Like kind of
exactly.
like carrying you guys' torch right now for that.
Which is
Just like I'm just free balling everything, hoping that God that I can
there's
not
still
break
people,
everything.
There's still people like that, but I feel like there's not as many. But maybe I'm wrong.
I like to absorb. I come in here, I watch what Chris does for like maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then next time I work on my car, I'm like, maybe more like Chris.
Yeah. Well, do you see something he does or something and be like, oh, that does work. I see Chris do shit still, and I'm like, damn, I would have never thought of that. That's just shit you learn from experience working with other people in shops and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. Anyway, thank you for coming out.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm sure Carl will be hitting you up soon for a
Andy's mobile dyno
dyno. Yeah.
and shower.
Oh, also we
No, I'm
got
just kidding.
we got a shout
I
out.
call section.
Oh shit! Yeah, shout out
Beastie
Beastie.
Boy E46 for sending me Oreos and Hostess Ding Dongs. They're not ring dings, but they'll do.
No, they're
Um,
impossible. I told him all the dude.
And his drift team is Misery. It's called Misery. They're from Missouri. It's kind of a cool sticker. It's like a Milwaukee sticker with misery spelled
fuck with it.
in a weird way. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Shout out Beast Boy, yo. He stay feeding you and me. He got me granola bars over
Yeah,
here.
check these guys out. Misery, Mizzori. And thanks for the Oreos. All right, well, that covers today's episode.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been Faction After Hours. What's your Instagram, Andy?
Andy's Mobile Dyno.
It actually is.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Follow at Andy's Mobile Dyno for your mobile dyno needs.
And for the memes.
And for the memes. All right. Bye. Is that it, Malcolm?
Where's the outro, Malcolm?
There's no outro?
Jesus.
When are we going to pop the bottle of rose?
Did you just smell the mic?
I was curious.
Okay, that's fucking weird. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, smart guy.
Yeah, too smart. It actually
Genius.
went better than expected because I thought it was just going to be him being way too smart for everyone in this room, and then we're all just like,
Oh, what?
But I forgot Carl can literally make a conversation with anyone. So, yeah, it worked out. We learned a lot of information, and Andy was able to fix the heat in his truck before he drove home. So,
Nice.
yeah, so he wasn't freezing to death the whole way home. Now, the wipers, I don't know. Maybe the wipers were still going. But, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let us know in the comments on YouTube. And also, if you're listening to this, I think you can leave some type of review on Spotify. So feel free to do that. If you're listening to it on Apple or anything else, just leave us a review in general, because those reviews really help us in basically the rankings of podcasts. I don't really know what you're supposed to call that, but it's like a mixture of, like, I guess how many people download them, and then the reviews do come into effect, I'm pretty sure. But if you notice, no one really leaves reviews for podcasts. So
Yeah.
but then if you check out ours, we have a lot of reviews, and that's thanks to you guys for actually listening to me when I speak, which is crazy because my employees don't even do that.
Nope.
Okay.
But thanks, guys.
What else we got going on? We got R-Tech manifolds. If you guys know this brand, you probably heard of it through Jimmy Oaks or Adam LZ, but R-Tech is a exhaust manifold brand from, I believe, Australia. I hope I'm right with that, but somewhere down under,
Somewhere down under.
somewhere down under.
Okay.
I know you can do the accent. So.
I'm all right.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, somewhere down there. I believe it's Australia, but they make some really good, high-quality manifolds, so we're going to begin stocking those. If anyone is interested, please, I don't want to say DM us, but I know you're going to DM us anyway. So DM us or check out our website or shoot us an email. Email is best if you're looking for something that's not on the website. So we are placing that order probably in the next few days. What else? We got a lot of HPS.
A lot of HPS, radiator hoses, coolant hoses, whatever.
Yeah. Coolant hoses, radiator hoses. There's even a JZ kit. So if you have a JZ and an S13 or an S14, you know that finding the radiator hoses is kind of a pain in the ass. So now we carry those swap radiator hoses. And we have an order coming in, hopefully in the next few weeks. So we will be stocking those as well.
Anything else?
I'm looking right now. Ooh, yeah. The Nissan VIN plate in the engine bay, the little clips that hold it in, they're like rivets, but they're plastic.
We got those.
We got those. So $3.95 each. Pretty good deal. Yeah, if you had to take that plate off to paint the engine bay or anything like that, now you can get the replacement clips to put the VIN plate back on instead of, what we used to do is we just like put painter's tape around the whole thing. But then it never works out. You always get overspray on something.
Yeah.
That looks like everything as far as the website goes. I did want to mention that Malcolm's best friend Eddie has been coming to the shop for the last few weeks, and he has been filming random, basically just anything that's been going on.
Yeah, he just hangs out, films for us, takes photos, and just tries to capture whatever we go through on Mondays, at least.
Yesterday was rough, so
Yeah.
yeah.
You can see those videos on the Patreon. We're going to start posting stuff to the YouTube. We just got to figure out a little schedule and a little content calendar to see what we can, formulate for the YouTube. But
Yeah, so basically what's going on is if we don't have videos to film on Monday and Eddie's coming, he's going to film a vlog for the Patreon. So if you want to see more behind the scenes footage from the shop and stuff like that, and these videos, we're listening to music, everything is good. Like, we don't have to...
Watching Frankie work on his car.
Watching me work on my car for once. So it's a fun time. So if you want to check that footage out, just make sure you join the Patreon. And thank you to all the Patreon supporters we already have. We really appreciate it. I mentioned this last time. We will be, at least we should be releasing a new hoodie soon. And if you are a $15 member on Patreon, you will be getting one of those hoodies for free. So join up now and you'll get a free hoodie soon.
All right, shop is getting loud. We got to go.
Yeah, shop's getting loud. So we'll see you guys later. Make sure to check out our sponsors.
See ya.